No, it's not.
No, I think it's like locked on YouTube.
Might be locked. You might be locked in.
Oh, now we don't have the that option anymore.
It does say we are live, I think.
I think we are live. It's just messed up.
Yeah, we are live, Hayden.
Just not we're
Okay, but what's it
sideways.
showing?
It's horizontal,
Like it
but
was
yeah,
before?
vertically, or what are you at?
We're rolling with it. I don't care.
Alright. Where's your
So you
mom's
just have
phone?
to
I'll
turn
at
the
least
camera?
here. Give me your mom's phone. I'll just play around with it while you guys intro. Josie?
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to a special edition of Second and Short Podcast where the entire playbook is open. I'm Josiah.
I'm Jacob.
Eli?
Cooper?
And I'm pissed.
As you can see, we have two guests on the show today, longtime members.
Yes, now.
But it's been a while since they've been on. So obviously we were talking about Cooper and Eli here. Have other more important, more pressing things going on, priorities in their life that they put over top of us, which is fine. You know, it is what it is. So. Go ahead.
Now, if you guys did tune into the first live stream about 10 minutes ago, you would have heard me say, wow, this went a lot smoother than last year. I spoke too soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not perfect this year, but we'll be alright. And you guys will be alright. So.
That's right. We're back. We're back. So
We're back.
Yeah.
Explain the rules to everybody.
Yeah, so obviously this is our live mock draft. All five of us, we split up the teams between us randomly throughout. Thanks Hayden for that. And basically we're just going to go through and we're going to select a little bit based on what we would do, like if we were the GMs of this team. Obviously we're going to stay true to some of the picks that are just chalk, like 101, right? Like everybody pretty much knows who's going there, but we'll see if that's the direction that Eli's going to go in. Yeah, and so basically we're just going to be picking the players and as we see fit for our different teams. So obviously I kind of alluded to it, but pick 101 is Eli with the Tennessee Titans, and you are officially on the clock.
Thank you. I'm sure I made the joke last year of I'm going to take 10 minutes to make this first pick because it's one of the things I hate about the draft. I don't hate a lot about the draft, but I do.
Yeah.
I think that's such a game, but it is what it is. So Josie mentioned it. There's an obvious 1-1. I did try to trade around this pick a little bit because if you've watched the show, you know that I hate first round quarterbacks. But we all know where this one is going. So I'll just go it, just chalk it. I'm going Cam Ward, number 1 pick for the Tennessee Titans. And it'll be nice watching them draft another quarterback in 2 years.
Yeah.
They might, unless he's the franchise.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
I
Titans
like
are
it.
back. All right, I've got the Browns. They're the home team here. Do I want them to go Shador? I do, but I'm in full belief, and we're taking Travis Hunter here at 2, and we're gonna find a way to get back up and get Shador. So with the second pick, Brownies taking Travis Hunter. Very exciting player, easy to root for. Think he's going to be generational. And you basically got double the odds. If he's bad at one position, there's no way he's bad at both.
So what are you? What's your plan for him as the GM?
I think for the Browns specifically, I think that playing receiver is a bigger need for us. I mean, he's going to play both sides of the ball. Let's not joke around with this. He's proven everyone wrong at every level. Is he going to play every snap on every side of the ball? No. But no NFL player does that. Other than quarterback, no offense, and like some of the O-linemen, skill position players take snaps off. Defensive players take snaps off. There's different packages. Like, he's not going to play every single snap. But will he play majority of them? Yes, he will on both sides. You can guarantee that.
You see him as a true corner or more of a nickel?
He's true corner. I mean, his ball skills, like instincts, the way that he can move, like athletically, he can keep up with anybody.
So where does he fit on the defense this year? because you've still got Denzel Ward, you still got Emerson, and you still got
Greg Newsom.
Greg Newsom.
I mean, Greg Newsom's kind of on the bottom tier. I think with Travis Hunter, I think what you'd be able to do. I actually heard an interesting take. I actually heard that like if the Browns were to have him, an interesting thing that they could do is put him at like free safety and let him roam around with like some of those like instincts with the ball. But I think that with the Browns, I think it'll probably be Denzel and Travis Hunter on the outsides. Maybe let Travis play nickel sometimes, but I think Martin Emerson does really well inside. And then kind of use Greg Newsom as like our dime package corner and like our like just sub rotational guy.
Nice. Okay. Next on the clock is the New York Giants. New York Giants. Is
That is me.
that is back to
I
you.
don't feel like doing that anymore.
It
So
was nice while it lasted. Thank you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
pre-live, we were talking quarterbacks. As mentioned, I'm not a big quarterback in the first round guy. I already went one for the Titans just to make it chalk. But you're not going to be able to force me into two here. And the guy that would be two isn't my second quarterback on the board. Even the guys above him I don't have very high. I think you go best player available here. This is kind of a homer pick. I think that it's very possible for the Giants to do so. A lot of mock drafts recently saying they will. So I'm going to go with Abdul Carter with pick number 3. I think he has a very, very good argument to be that he is the top overall player in the draft regardless of position. I do think he's a little cocky, so him in New York I think will work at first. Who knows if it would work long term. Could see him having some contract disputes later on. But should be a fun pick at least for the start. I'm going to go with Abdul.
Nice.
Solid pick.
So I'm on the clock with the Patriots. The Patriots, if you guys remember, had a chance to be the number 1 overall seed. The problem was they ended up winning a meaningless game against Buffalo. Buffalo was trying to lose that game. They actually pulled their backup quarterback to play Mike White. So they were really trying to lose, didn't want New England to get that number 1 overall pick. And think about who would be on the board for them. They could have just taken Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, or some team that was desperate, like the Giants could have traded up and given a haul to get Cam Ward. At 4, the popular one in mocks has been Will Campbell. I really like Will Campbell, but due to the smaller arms and smaller in stature, he's probably projects as a guard. You won't really see a guard go in the top 4. I also am tempted to go Tyler Warren. I know Josie has some money against me in Naples on Tyler Warren not going in the top 10. And I feel like Tyler Warren would be a Mike Vrabel type of player. Mason Graham, there's certainly a possibility, but I'm going to go a little bit off the board here and go Armin Membu, the number 1 pure tackle, like I said, with Will Campbell. Great offensive lineman, but probably projects more as a guard. We're going to go the number 1 tackle.
Nice.
So you're putting him at right tackle, or are you trying to switch him to left?
I think he could play either Lowe and Morgan Moses. So probably left. Morgan Moses doesn't have any experience on the left side, so keep Morgan Moses there.
I don't think I thought I heard somewhere that
Membu's
Armand
mainly
Membu never
right.
took a snap at left tackle.
He's mainly right, but they think that they could train. Teach him how to play left.
I would rather retrain a college kid than a 10-plus year starter at this point.
fair
So,
enough.
Because Morgan Moses only played right tackle.
yeah, because in Washington, Trent Williams was on the
Mhm.
left. And then in New York, you had Fashion, you had Tyron Smith. Obviously, Baltimore, you had Ronnie Stanley. So
Yeah.
No, I like the pick. Do you think? I don't know why everyone was so quick to move that New England wouldn't take McMillan at 4. Like I think there's a very real possibility. Like, their receiving core is not there.
I think that New England, just like a lot of teams, are going to be trying to trade back.
Yeah.
You know how I personally feel on McMillan.
Mhm.
So that definitely, my bias crept in, but also I don't think New England necessarily would be that high on him. Especially you look at the Mike Vrabel teams, they're not going to be built on the exterior. So.
For sure, but think about it. They let A.J. Brown go in Tennessee. He was pissed. You talk about a guy who has similar frame, can do similar things as A.J. Brown. They need someone for Drake May to throw the ball to. It's not unlikely. I think they are a really good trade back candidate, though.
Yeah, I think that the thing about Ted
If someone wants to
McMillan,
move.
the thing about Ted McMillan is that I think fans are higher on him than teams are.
GMs, yeah.
Like I've heard a lot of fans talk about how like, oh, he's gonna go this high, he's gonna go that high. I just with the way that he's like dropped in some of these things, and like he's still probably wide receiver 1 outside of Travis Hunter, but like I just feel like teams aren't as high on him as
Yeah,
fans
for
are.
sure.
Naples on the clock
Yep.
with Jacksonville.
Jacksonville and we talked about it. A sneaky spot where Tyler Warren might go is the Jags. Talk about a team that let Evan Ingram go. He was one of their primary pass catchers. It's a team that loves to use the tight end. Trevor Lawrence looking for another target. They want to bolster that offense. They want Trevor Lawrence to look good. They want him to be good, obviously. They paid him a lot of money. I think that they have a lot of needs on defense. So I think although Mason Graham would help, they need help everywhere on defense, and I think that you get a staple piece like Tyler Warren on the offensive side of the ball, and then build defensive depth throughout the rest of the draft, because you can get some edge rushers and or interior guys a little later. You can get some secondary guys a little later for that team, and I think that you're not going to get as someone as good as Tyler Warren later in the draft, although Mason Graham is good. I just think that he'll fit really well with the Jags, so that's where I'm going to go. And that is my bold prediction of the actual NFL draft. I do think there's a pretty good chance that Tyler Warren goes 5 to the Jags.
You're logging that one in.
Yeah, Tyler Warren.
All right, Josie, you can just give up that $55 now. It's basically official, so basically official.
And listen, I don't hate Tyler Warren. I actually really like Tyler Warren, but I think that, like Hayden touched on with the guard thing, I don't see the value in taking a tight end top 10.
You don't
That's
see the
kinda where I'm
value in taking a tight end in the top 32.
If it's at the end, I would say top 22. If top 22, it's hard for me to justify taking a tight end. Anything beyond that, I'm good with.
All right, next up, the Raiders. Cooper, you're picking. This probably, other than Cam Ward, has been the most popular mock draft selection. Ashton Genty. I'm a little bit lower on him than most. Still think he's a great running back. Is that the direction you're going?
I am
Mason Graham's on the board.
very low on Ashton Genty. But there's 3 people I'm looking at here. Genty, Shadur, and then McMillan. I think McMillan would make a lot of sense
Yeah, no.
at 6, just to get Geno Smith another weapon beside Brock
Jacoby
Bowers.
there, though.
But I'm gonna go Genty. I think it's the safest pick there. And
Okay.
yeah, I think he'll be an okay running back. But I also don't like running backs going in the top 10.
Okay, for sure. Who is the Jets?
I have the
Because I'm
Jets.
interested to see where you go here with the Jets.
So there's a
Membo
lot.
and Warren are off the board, and those are probably the 2
Yeah.
most
And they
popular.
don't need an
Yeah.
interior defensive
I
tackle.
mean, they don't, but they could always improve in that
Yeah,
position.
for sure,
Like,
for sure.
Derek Notty's okay. He's good. Obviously, you've got Quinnen Williams there, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to shy away from taking
Oh, yeah.
Mason Graham here
No.
if he's the best player available.
Yeah.
I also see Will Campbell
Will
there, and I
Campbell,
think that
Ted McMillan.
if you really want to try to make it work with Justin Fields, which you clearly do, you give him a 2-year contract. You
They
need
can
to
get out of
protect
it
him.
after 1 year.
I know. I'm just making the case for
Yeah.
why I potentially take tackle here, because I do think you could always use offensive line help. I'm not in that top 5 range, so even if you do move into guard, you can justify taking a guard at number 7.
Yeah.
You're outside the top 5. I think I'm talking myself into taking Will Campbell here, even though I was
Yeah.
kind of I was gonna go with Mason Graham, but I actually think I'm kind of now leaning more towards Will Campbell.
Yeah.
I think both of those guys are plug and play 10-year starters.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm
So
gonna
Will
go Will
Campbell?
Campbell.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good pick. I actually I think Mason Graham will fall in this draft. I was
Crazy,
doing
dude.
I was doing
He's-
some listen. No,
He's so good.
he's so good. But look at generally, there's only been 2 defensive tackles drafted in the top, I think it's top 5 picks or top 10 picks or something, and they've both been certain arm length and over 300 pounds, and that was Marcel Darius and Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams was the last one taken
Yeah.
high like that, and he doesn't fit those measurables. So I don't
Because
know.
even
It's-
Aaron
it's-
Donald was the 13th pick.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard for me to see him going top 5.
I mean, somebody in the 10 to 12 range is going to be
Oh yeah.
over the hill.
I think this next team, the Panthers, is a great spot for Mason Graham.
So the top 7 picks, just for the new viewers, running through it. The first 3 are kind of the consensus right now. Obviously, something crazy could happen with the trade, but Cam Ward at 1, Travis Hunter to Cleveland, Abdul Carter to New York. So is Kayvon Thibodeau now available. Armin Membu to the Patriots, Tyler Warren to the Jags. So a couple hot takes. Back to chalk with Ashton Genty to the Raiders, and then Will Campbell to the New York Football Jets. The Panthers are up now. Cooper's picking for them. The popular one here has been edge rusher. The problem is it's really anybody's guess who is the second edge rusher off the board, and are any of them worthy of pick 8? Cooper, what are you leaning?
A lot of ways the Panthers could go here in real life.
Really bad team.
Very. I'm between two people. It's gonna be Jalen Walker and McMillan. Just because Bryce Young, he needs help. Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette aren't necessarily.
Go Colson Loveland.
Are
They
we
don't,
gonna
they
hit
don't
that?
have a good tight end.
They have a
right
great
now.
tight end.
Two
Toko.
tight ends in the top 8 will be. And look, do it, make it fun.
I think Loveland's going with the Colts or the Chargers.
I mean, if Tyler Warren's gone, yeah.
The problem is, if Cooper, we're buying you some time here, so I
Yeah,
really like
thank
that.
you.
If Loveland to Colts is so obvious, and I agree with you, I think that is like the likely outcome. Does a team like the Chargers or somebody try to jump them? That's the
Good.
problem when these
Yeah.
picks try to become so chalk,
Yeah.
where a team might try to jump you. Like,
Well,
I remember a couple years ago, Jalen Carter to the Eagles was so chalk where the Eagles actually moved up a pick. Same thing with J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings last year.
Yeah.
If a team really likes that player. Ashton Genty to the Raiders. Technically, if a team's in love with Genty,
traded at 5.
trade to 5. Yeah, exactly. So that
Do
is
you-
something that becomes an issue.
What pick do the Chargers have?
22.
22.
No, they pick right after Pittsburgh.
It's gonna be tough. I think the Chargers. I don't know if they would give up a lot to trade up to go get a tight end in
Yeah.
like the top 10, top
Because
12.
then I would agree with you.
But-
That's like moving up
Yeah.
10 spots to draft a
Yeah.
tight end. Then, yeah, that guy
That would be
a
crazy.
first
I
round
think
pick.
they are potentially a team that could take like in Elijah Arroyo. I don't think they'll. I don't. Now they could reach on tight end that high, or
Yeah, in
like
the
with,
first, you're
yeah, in
saying?
the first they could reach. But I also see the Chargers team like, oh, Loveland and Warren are gone. Like in this scenario, let's try to trade back out of the first round and take one of those tight ends like a Harold Fannin or a Mason Taylor or a Elijah Arroyo like in the beginning of the second round and like get that tight end because we know that's a position of need for them and they want to like obviously Harbaugh loves tight ends. Herbert needs a tight end to throw to over the middle of the field. Just kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Or another receiver.
They
makes
got Will
sense.
Disley and Tyler Conklin, so they're good.
Yeah.
In my mock draft
Exactly.
3.0, I did have them grabbing another Michigan Wolverine. Cooper, you better be ready because we're stalling for you big time. I had him grabbing Kenneth Grant, the other
Yeah,
D tackle.
yeah.
We were talking about Mason Graham, who's still on the board. So
Or I
Michigan
like-
Wolverines,
Or
especially
I
on
like
defense.
receiver to the Chargers a lot. I know they got McConkey, but outside of that,
You need another.
you think about if they get Luther Burden,
You lost Josh Palmer.
they get
too,
Matthew
this year.
Golden.
Mhm.
I'm thinking like this
Mike
offense
Williams
could
is back.
really
They're
take
good.
another leap this year.
They're good for 7 games before
Yeah,
it tears his
they also
ACL.
have Quentin Johnston.
I'm actually
so-
really excited for the Chargers draft. I know that you love the Chargers like that I do. Think about if they get one of these receivers and then they second round they go get a running back like a Caleb Johnson or something, and all of a sudden you're talking about loading up this Harbaugh offense with Herbert, and it's gonna be fun.
They got a running back. They got Najee.
They do have Najee is he's a solid running back. He's a serviceable
Solid.
starter.
And
He's
then
a serviceable starter.
J.K. Dobbins is still available, right?
Yeah, and he's still a free agent, so I mean they could
Is it-
bring him back.
Najee will get you 1,000 yards on 3 yards per touch.
Hey
But
man,
he'll get you
he
1,000
can
yards.
But
do
he's
the
not going to
he
get hurt and he's
hey,
not going to fumble.
can do the dirty
Well,
work between the
unless
goal
game's on
line.
the line.
Or he
fumble
can-
in 4
hey,
years.
Najee can do the dirty work between the tackles, and then they could get a guy maybe like a Trayvon Henderson.
They could.
Get a lot of speed on that
They
edge.
could.
All right, Cooper,
All
please tell me that
The
you
pick is
have
in?
a pick for the Panthers.
I don't have a pick,
What?
but I'm calling Josie on the phone right now at the Miami Dolphins.
Have you been on the phone?
Yeah, I was
He's
on,
on-
I was
he's on
the
hold
phone.
right now.
He's been on hold.
Would you, as the Dolphins, like to trade up?
Or any
pick
team,
eight?
I mean.
Specifically the Dolphins, please.
He's calling the Dolphins.
Dolphins, another bad roster right now. Everything's going wrong for Miami.
Yeah.
So
Trade up and take Shador.
See, the thing about the Dolphins is I already know what position I'm taking, and I can't justify trading up this high to take a corner because the Dolphins don't have a corner on their roster. Right
You're not
now.
going to go tackle with the Dolphins.
You could.
No,
What
because
if there's a run on corner
if
too?
you're really gonna trade Jalen
Howard's
Ramsey,
gonna be out. He said that.
you don't have Xavier Howard anymore. Like
Yeah.
you don't have a corner. You need to take
Dolphins
a corner.
Or
draft
tackles.
strategy is leaked.
I would argue tackles
Everyone
more
take
important
corner.
than, especially in that offense. We see what happens
Cooper,
when
you
Tua
should go
goes down.
Which again, I mean,
I think I might go corner now.
Go Johnny.
No, I really think I might go.
Which they need. They
Will
need
Johnson,
corner too.
they do need
I mean, the Panthers need
Got
corner.
rid of J.C. Horn. So
Like I said,
Right?
edge rusher's the
Just
popular
extend it.
one. I don't
No,
like
not
getting
J.C.
edge
Horn,
rusher at this
the
point.
other-
Yeah.
No,
No,
dude went to
no,
Dante
me
Jackson.
either at all.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm gonna go with the best corner available. I'm gonna go with Will Johnson.
Crazy.
So Will Johnson, you have J.C. Horn on the new contract. I forget who else is in that secondary, but
That's a good.
Listen,
Who's the Aints?
you got to get better at somehow. So I don't mind it. It definitely
I-
seems like a little reach.
oh, you're
but-
Eli has the Saints.
Yeah.
I just
There's a conflict of interest for me.
Does
I feel like that's
everybody?
a really bad spot for the Panthers.
It
Does
is.
everybody
I agree,
have
I
Will
agree.
Johnson as the number one corner, unless you have Travis Hunter as a corner?
Yeah, I have him as my outside of Travis Hunter. I have him as my top rated corner.
Yeah, I love him. The testing concerns me, just because he probably is like a 4-5 kind
He's a
of guy.
4-2 kind of guy.
Ooh.
Is that why he didn't decided not to run?
He's not healthy. He's not fully healthy.
You're unfortunately is a
Who is this?
4-2-1 kind
Will
of guy.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's.
but
he's
I am a
solid.
fan of his. Probably a reach, but I agree with what you said. I don't like where the Panthers are picking. Ideally, you would want to trade down.
I'm not trading up.
Are you going? You're
I'm
not-
trading up at this
So you're gonna go with Trey Amos or Ben Morrison at? You're gonna
Or
reach
Johnny
for them in
Barron.
the middle.
point.
Well, I'm saying if
I'm gonna
Johnny
go-
Barron gets picked, he is.
I mean, at this point,
I mean, he could
we'll
pivot.
see. We'll see what falls there. But like at 13, I'm gonna take.
The
I mean,
Saints
shit,
are on the clock.
Mason
dog.
Graham might be there at 13, and
Yeah, at this point,
he'd
yeah, at
rush.
this
He'd
point.
rush to the podium to
Mason,
put that
Mason
pick in.
Graham to the Saints is a great fit. I'm not trying to make
That's
your
what.
pick
No,
for
I
you,
mean
but, like,
it's best available. Obviously, so my thing was, I was honestly, if he would have went, if anybody, I guess, would have went Mason Graham before this pick, then I might go Jackson. So my thing with the Saints are so far away from anything, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Right? They have Kellen Moore, which is exciting.
You don't have a quarterback.
And right, Derek Carr's hurt, even if you think Derek Carr could do anything. So I think I was debating Jackson Dart here. As much as I hate first round, it's like I think the Saints should trade down. But if I can't trade down, is Mason Graham going to get you any? If the goal is to win a Super Bowl, Mason Graham's not getting you there in the next 4 years. No matter how good he is, like they're a mess right now. You need somebody to change it.
How many players though can single-handedly get you to a Super Bowl?
But are you-
No, but like I don't think you should take quarterback in the first round. But if you're this far away, like, and you can't trade down, they should trade down in my opinion. If they're this far away and you can't trade down, quarterback's the one piece that even if it doesn't totally work out, you might be able to like salvage it for something, you know, where if he does have a decent first couple of years and you're still so far away, you could just get like a crazy package for him. You know what I mean? So even if it doesn't work out for your team, they're just so far away right now.
So are you going Jackson
Wait,
Dart?
hold on.
I
Who
don't
is
want to
their
go
backup?
Shitter.
Who is their backup?
What's his
Spencer
name?
Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
And Derek Carr on IR.
I think
Season-ending IR.
I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do Jackson.
You can't take a
Dart.
Just
quarterback
take
in.
Mason Graham or trade. Call someone.
I'm still
Trade
between
back.
two people. I'll probably go Mason Graham. McMillan does excite me a little bit here, just
I don't
'cause
think they
for the same reason, like they're so far away. But with that, I'm gonna go with the best available in Mason Graham.
Nice. Good pick.
But I think the Saints should trade back.
The Bears.
On Thursday, I feel like if Shedeur doesn't go here, him and Jackson Dart are going to be at the Steelers.
Both
For
of them.
for
Only
Steelers.
I
I think
Saints would have gone quarterback here. If this is how the top 8
Think
played
so?
out, yeah.
I think they'd be really excited about Mason Graham.
Really? With Kellen Moore as like the new coach, and you're like,
I think
they'd
that's
go
the
for it.
difference.
They're a
I-
few years out though. Like in Kellen Moore.
They
knows
might be
that.
more than a few years out.
Yeah, but I'm
honestly.
saying like like they're not.
No.
Even if they draft one of those guys, like, do they think that they're gonna come in and do it like and be ready right away to go?
It sucks. You have to be patient with them, but you can't be patient with them.
Yeah.
when Spencer Rattler's out there throwing crap at people. are just
Hey,
gonna be
Spencer
mad.
Rattler might get them Arch Mannings though.
I think
True.
the quarterback conversation is interesting because I think a lot of these teams that might not take somebody in the first are banking on somebody being there in the third and the fourth. I heard this stat, it might have been earlier today. How many quarterbacks do you think have been taken in the second round in the last 10 years?
It's not, many.
very many.
It's like two.
6.
Jeez.
6
I'd
quarterbacks
at
in the
least
last
guess, like
10
15
years
or 20.
have been taken in the second round. Quarterbacks do not go in the second
They
round.
go in the
Either
first.
Yeah,
they-
that's
because
just
when
like-
they're a
They either
second
get
round
that
pick,
fifth
they
round
get,
option,
they
yeah,
get
they
that
trade up.
tax. They get that quarterback tax where they go to be a first round pick.
Yeah, because people want that
Yeah.
fifth round option.
And
on
so
them
I
typically.
think that if you don't see a guy go in the first, there's a chance that you might not see him go until the third. But
Yeah.
I think
Could
the
be.
exception to that might be Jackson Dart. I think he might be a second rounder, but I don't know. So
Let's see.
And I've told you guys, I think we're getting to a point now where Jalen Milrow is going to be the third quarterback off the board. I think Dart's kind
Not
of moved
21
below
though.
him.
Not at 21.
I don't know. I think the
Jalen
Steelers
Milrow
definitely
to the
prefer
Clippers.
Milrow over Dart.
Oh, they're bringing in Milrow.
All right, and number 10, Naples kind of teased it. The Bears.
Bear down.
Chicago, I'm very high on them. One, Ben Johnson, great addition. Caleb Williams only going to get better. And then completely revamped the offensive line. Kind of similar to the Panthers. Edge rushers really where you would like to go here. Have somebody opposite of Montez Sweat. If Eli would have passed on Mason Graham, we would have gone in that direction. I'm going to go with a tackle. And I'm not going with a tackle because Braxton Jones is bad. Because Braxton Jones was actually solid for them last year. I'm going to go with Josh Simmons. I think the guy is a top 10 talent. And because Braxton Jones is there, you don't have to start him right away. You have Darnell Wright, the former first-round pick, on the other side. Josh Simmons allows you to continue to build for the future. We saw this year in free agency, average tackles, as long as you have starting experience, you're going to be making north of $20 million. And that fits Braxton Jones exactly. Do you really want to dedicate that much to the cap to an average tackle? Probably not. You can let him walk, grab your third-round comp pick for him. Josh Simmons can start the next year.
Sure.
And also, injuries
Solid.
happen.
Solid
So-
pick, solid pick. Who's San Fran?
Jim,
Oh,
Again?
double dip.
Hayden.
I have double picks after this too.
This was Graham here.
I know, I
Okay.
just typed.
That's interesting. I think that, like, with play, I mean, they could address offensive line. What about a guy like Malachi Starks? I think he just
it's early
screams
for him.
Chicago Bears, though.
I mean, Kevin Byard's getting up there in age, but you have him and Jaquan Brisker, where I feel confident enough in that.
You have Jaquan Brisker for 6 games before he gets injured.
Don't talk about Eli's boy like that.
I like Jaquan Brisker. Don't get me wrong.
Here's my thing with it. We saw how crucial to Ben Johnson's offense a dominant offensive line is.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I just want to continue to build on
Yeah.
that. You have some older pieces. It technically Will Campbell, if he falls because of the tackle to guard thing, he would make a lot of sense there. Joe Tooney's getting up there
Yeah.
in age. Jonah Jackson was at a Pro Bowl level last time he was with Ben Johnson, but there's no guarantee he gets back to that with injuries. I looked up the 49ers depth chart, but then I realized the guy who I mocked to them pretty much every single time is still available. You can tell that I'm a former high school offensive lineman. We're going back to the trenches. Kelvin Banks Jr.
Yeah.
I've seen comparisons to Trent Williams. He can play on the right side to start out, and then once Trent Williams eventually retires, I mean, he's playing his best football in his mid-30s, we can shift him over to the left side. The run on tackle starts.
I think that that's a really good spot for him to land. I know that I've heard a lot of smoke recently about the Niners being really interested in Kelvin Banks. Even I think they had him out for a 30 visit, if I'm correct on that. So
Yeah. All right, I'm up with the Cowboys. I think I buy the Jerry Jones going skill position player, even though I think they need a lot of help, especially in the defensive trenches. I think the Cowboys could use a lot of help there. But if I could speak here, we talked about it. The edges aren't really they're kind of a question mark at this point. We don't really know who's going to go where. So at this point, for me, it's either Ted McMillan or it's Omari and Hampton. And I honestly think there's a pretty decent chance that this pick is Omari and Hampton, but I personally don't like that pick, so I'm gonna go Ted McMillan here with this pick to the Cowboys. You get a legit wide receiver 2 behind CD, and then that knocks down who's their receiver?
Jalen
The little
Tolbert.
guy, Jalen Tolbert. That knocks him down to a 3 slot role, which is great for him. You have Dak coming back. You'll figure out the running back, or maybe they like Miles Sanders and
Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams. Maybe they like those guys well enough to go with them. But
Yikes.
you took McMillan for the
that's
Cowboys.
the Cowboys.
That's a good
Yeah,
pick.
I think it's either him or it's Omari and Hampton. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that they brought in Javonte Williams, if McMillan's still there, I think that they go all over that.
Yeah.
And did you pick for Miami yet?
I did not pick for Miami yet.
Best cornerback on the board, Jahdae Barron.
And that's kind of, I think that's where I'm leaning is Jahdae Barron.
Yeah. Maxwell Harrison still there.
Yeah, I also I'm a big fan of.
I mean, the run on tackles kind of helped you out
It
for your
did.
logic because
Mhm.
Josh Connerly would be my next guy, and
That's I don't
Yeah.
think this is too rich to take him here at 13.
Good.
I like the idea of Colston Loveland here in reality, but I also like I'm blanking on his name.
Johnny
I was
Smith.
like, Johnny Smith, thank you. He had a good second half of the season. I think he ended up as tight end 3 in fantasy last year and helped them in a big way. If you guys remember that overtime game at the end of the season, he had 0 fantasy points going into overtime. By the end of overtime, he had like 12 because he had like 4 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown or something like that. Like he is a guy who can go off. He had the best season of his career. But that being said, I think I am going to stick to what I was talking about. I'm going to take Johnny Barron.
Johnny Barron, good pick.
Colts, Loveland still available.
Is the chalk there?
So I just think
But Penn
there's
State and Indy line's gonna have to pick a Michigan Wolverine.
well, but I just like it's similar to my Cam Ward pick where it's like I know this is what's gonna happen if this is how it plays out with Tyler Warren going so high. I think if Tyler Warren falls to the late 10s or like 11 or 12, I think the Colts do trade up. Honestly, if Josie didn't go Jade there, I might have went in with the Colts just because I think there's such a difference between cornerback 2 outside of Travis versus cornerback 3.
Would you think about Jahad Campbell here or no?
Yeah, linebacker I know is a big need, but I think Colston Loveland is just so chalk, and they are so bad at that position that again, like same thing with the Cam Ward, it's almost just like you have to. So I'll go Colston.
Yeah.
And he's,
I like
I mean,
that.
it's no hate against him. There's just such a drop between what
Yeah.
Tyler can do and what Loveland can do.
For sure.
I'll say the only thing I like Tyler to the Colts more is that he's a better run blocker, and that helps out JT
Oh,
quite
yeah.
a bit. So, because
Yeah.
Colston Loveland's a really good route runner, and he can get open, but he's not necessarily the run blocker that
Yeah.
Tyler
I didn't
is.
see Naples getting him at 5, Tyler Warren with 5. If he would have fell to like 9 or 10, I would have been calling some of you guys. So I'm up again with the Falcons.
So another spot cornerback. So
Yeah, I don't like the difference between these corners after that falls out after Barron. There's a couple of edges that I think would be fun here. And then there's a receiver that I really like here. Let me pull up their depth chart again just to confirm what the computer has as their needs. See if I have any disagreements.
So, hey, if you're willing to trade back,
For who?
there
With
might
what
be
team?
there might be a team up in Cleveland, Ohio that's interested in making a move.
What's the?
Shador's still
I
out
should
there.
ask you with Indy. What's the?
Huh?
What's the idea here? What's your?
We're
wants
just, we're just
Shador.
looking to move up.
He wants Shador.
We're
I
looking
know,
to,
but
we're
like,
looking to
what's-
get back in the first round.
No, I'm good with
Potentially
that. But
an
what's the-
idea of,
What are you thinking offer
I'm
wise?
thinking we maybe give you pick 33, an ipso facto first round pick. You move back. We also go ahead and give you our first pick in the 3rd round, which is I think 66. Something like that. It's like it's an ipso facto 2nd round pick, and then we'll go
But
ahead
you can't
and
use that pick tonight, though.
well in this simulation,
No,
but
I'll still take it
Yeah.
as.
in that sense, and then we'll go ahead and give you like a 5th round pick next year.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Not enough. Not enough to go to 15.
No.
Would you make it a 4th next year?
I mean, you're moving
We're
up
gonna pair
essentially
thirds.
20. He's moving back 20 spots.
He's
Yeah,
moving
that's-
back 15 spots, really. We have the first pick in the 2nd round.
And we're at 15 right now, so it's like 17
Okay,
or
17
18.
spots. But you're moving back but you're moving back 17 spots, and you're also getting basically another 2nd round pick with pick 66. And they say this draft lives for picks
Eli, what did you
28
say?
through
I like
60, whatever.
I like the edges too much.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm gonna go with. So whenever that's somebody that's like, I always like think twice when it's somebody from a college like Marshall, right?
Mm.
Like you have like Khalil Mack. It was like yes,
Buffalo.
he was freaking Khalil Mack. Sorry, what'd you say?
Buffalo.
Yeah, right. I thought you said like correct me on the name. I thought
No.
I messed up. Right. You think like, oh shoot, it can somebody from Buffalo really produce? But whenever you see somebody graded this high and consistently go in the mock drafts this high, it's not like Mike Green's like in a lot it's top 15, but then you have some where it's like mid 2nd round. He's consistently top 20. So I'm gonna take a flyer. I'm gonna go with Mike Green.
Alright, so finally
Well-
our second edge rusher off the
Yeah.
board. Shador Sanders continues to drop. Naples, are you gonna make the same
all
deal?
I,
with
all
Eli?
I,
got
will,
Mike
all
Green
I
there.
will
Yeah.
say about the Falcons is they only have 5 picks in this draft. So acquiring 2 an additional pick in this draft would be good for them.
Is that board still on the table for Cooper now with the Cardinals? Monty Alsonfort likes
We're
to
not.
trade
We're
back.
not interested in trading with the Cardinals.
A nice F
He
you.
said after the Cardinals.
We're not.
I don't like Duke Tobin. I'm not calling him out.
I wouldn't be trading out of this spot anyway. I think this is a pretty easy choice here. You gotta kind of go best available with what it's given you, and Jalen Walker, who has
Is he
been in a
missing?
lot of top 10s in the mock drafts, he's fallen to pick 16. I think you have to pick him here. I'm
Jalen
going
Walker?
Jalen Walker.
Is
Josie,
he your guys' linebacker one?
Well, that kind of ties into what I'm
Depends
just going to
what
say.
you think.
The Cardinals, the last 5 years, have drafted three guys now
Yeah.
who are linebacker, edge rusher hybrids.
Isaiah Simmons, Zayvon Collins,
And now Jalen Walker.
Now Jalen
Jalen Walker, I've heard some experts talk about him. I wasn't super familiar with his game, but he's mocked to like the Panthers in the top 10 a lot.
Yeah.
What I have heard is he's okay as a linebacker and okay as an edge rusher. Not great at either one of them. But I think the draft community is probably very polarized on him. Some people probably love the versatility, and then other people are completely scared off.
So, question for you, Cooper. When you passed on him at 8 with the Panthers, did you imagine he'd be there at 16 for your next pick with the Cardinals?
No, I didn't think that
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. I didn't.
I
when you
appreciate
passed
the
him at
honesty.
8, I didn't think he'd be there at 16. So,
No. If I was to think about that at 8, I wouldn't have guessed that he would be there.
yeah.
So I'm up with the Bengals. There are two spots to me that stand out above the rest. What was that?
Just they need something.
So
Defense.
better be a defensive player.
Yeah, it has to be.
so defensively, I would want to grab an edge rusher regardless of what happens with Trey Hendrickson. My top edge rusher on the board would be Mikael Williams. However, I'm just not high on the edge rusher. And because of that, I'm going to go with probably the most versatile lineman in the draft in Gray Zabel. He can play all 5 positions. We're going to do that. Like, typically, when a guy could play both interior or exterior on the offensive line, he's going to be interior because chances are he's average as a tackle, but could be very good to great as a guard or a center. Gray Zabel can be just that because Orlando Brown Jr. and Amarius Mims last year's first rounder. We got to protect Joe Burrow. He's clearly the franchise. We'll try and find an edge rusher in round 2.
Nice. I like it.
Seahawks.
Yeah,
I picked
I
3.
mean it's definitely where the Seahawks wanted to
You
go.
don't love it?
Definitely wanted to go Gray Zabel there. We were hoping we could get him. It's interesting. The Seahawks have some needs. Definitely on the offensive line. After bringing in Sam Darnold, we definitely got to protect old Sam because if Sam's under pressure, it ain't good. So if they're looking to contend, they definitely have to bolster up that O-line a little bit. I think that they could definitely use some interior help. Could also go receiver here. I mean, after losing DK Metcalf, it could be an interesting spot to see them maybe go dip into that Ohio State well.
Even with Cooper Kupp and Jackson
Yeah.
Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, I mean, but who's their third though? Jake Bobo. So, like,
Yes.
Jake Bobo and MVS.
Yeah, so like, and if you're thinking like long term wise, like Cooper Kupp's probably going to be there a year, like 2 max. So
Yeah.
bringing in another young wide receiver to learn from Cooper Kupp perhaps
Yeah.
could be a good option. It's just a tough spot because there is a couple defensive guys here that like are good. There isn't like, I mean, other than edge, like, but I kind of agree. Like, I don't know if I take an edge like here for the Seahawks. It's just like,
And they took a D tackle last year, so it's like
yeah,
a couple
so it's like
guys
they
off the
don't.
board.
Yeah,
Their first round pick last year was a D tackle.
Yeah, it's like,
You
Do
might
it-
have missed
it's-
on that one.
it's like, do I go Malachi Starks to add another weapon in the
Josie will
secondary?
punch the table if you take Malachi Starks.
I mean,
He's good. He's good.
he's
He's
good.
Yeah.
Nick
He's-
Morey is there. And just think about the defensive mind of Mike McDonald.
Remember a
and
couple
Nick
weeks
Morey?
ago on the pod when he was like, I don't really get the first round buzz around him.
Yeah, I mean, I like Malachi
So
Starks here.
full.
I like Malachi Starks here. I like Emeka Ibuka here a lot. I think that they could go either of those directions. You know, in my notes here, we're looking at best tackle available. We were hoping for Gray Zabel, so that really kind of messes up. But then my second option here is Ibuka.
Do you not like Tyler Booker at guard?
I mean, I do. It's just like him and Donovan Jackson. I think are both pretty solid.
Donovan Jackson, I think, has a better chance of playing tackle at the next level than Grace
Yeah.
Abel does. So you could also
But-
give that direction.
It's tough. I mean, I think you gotta protect him. I mean, Josh Connerly's still there, but do they take him that high? Who knows? I'm gonna go with Josh Connerly. I think he's a little bit better of a tackle than Donovan Jackson is. Although I do like Donovan Jackson, I just don't think a team would take Donovan Jackson in the first round, maybe at the end. So I'll just go Josh Connerly, just help bolster the offensive line. Like they have everything else on offense to put together a good offense. Just beefing that up a little bit for Sam Darnold is probably going to be the best option for them this year.
I actually love that pick. I do think Josh Connerly is worthy of a first round. I want to do a recap just so we haven't done it in a while. I don't think we've done it since the top 7. Cam Ward goes number 1, Travis Hunter 2 to Cleveland, Abdul Carter to the Giants, which once again, does that mean Kayvon Thibodeau's on the trading block? Armand Membu to the Patriots, Tyler Warren to Jacksonville, Genty to the Raiders, Will Campbell to the Jets, Will Johnson goes to Carolina, Mason Graham goes to New Orleans, Josh Simmons to the Bears, Kelvin Banks to the 49ers, Ted McMillan to the Cowboys, Jahdae Barron to Miami, Colson Loveland to Indy, Mike Green to Atlanta, Jalen Walker to the Cardinals, Grace Abel to Cincy, and then Josh Connerly to the Seahawks. Josie, you're going to pick 2 of the next 3, and as a Steelers fan, this is pretty much the ideal scenario for a draft.
Dream board.
All the quarterbacks are still available, so you can technically get your pick of the litter. All the D tackles are available. I really would like a cornerback or a DB, but that's not really going to happen. It's going to be a D tackle, quarterback, or trade back. Everything's still on the board. 2 picks left until the Steelers are on the clock, but right now, I mean, Steelers fans would have to be ecstatic.
Sitting pretty. Yeah, because there's 3 big names at 3 different positions that I wanted for the Steelers at 21. So regardless of what happens, one of those 3 players will be available at 21 in the worst case scenario. And I actually am going to take one of those players right now at
Is
19.
Tampa able to trade back? There's potentially a call coming in from the Cleveland Browns. There's
Naples coming to get Shador.
The Browns are calling Tampa Bay.
Yep.
They're interested to see if Tampa Bay is looking to move back from 19 to 33.
Cleveland wants
Also
Baker
pick,
Mayfield back.
if they're willing, we'll take Baker. And the next, we'll give you 3 first-round picks for Baker. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh, that's tough. I'll take that.
But you have to take the shot.
No.
We're offering the same kind of deal. The second round, our first pick in the third round this year, and then a 4th or 5th next year's draft. If Tampa's interested in collecting an extra asset this year, an extra asset next year, move back a little bit.
I mean, it's definitely enticing. I'm trying to think, because
This is interesting because
It
the
is.
conflict of interest. Because I don't think Josie's going to go Shador
I'm not going
with
Shador here.
Steelers. So technically, you're trading back.
Well, he's
here.
the Tampa GM. He's got to think
Yeah.
about Tampa's needs.
Well, I'm saying it might help you. Yeah.
What was the offer again?
They move back to 33. They pick up whatever the Browns first. I think it's 66 is our first third round, but we have 2/3. The Browns do, and then a 4th rounder in 2026.
And Josie, while you continue to think about it, looking at the Bucks, I would say their number 1 need for really the last few years now has been edge rusher. Only 2 edge rushers are off the board, so you're technically still at a pretty good spot. 3, I guess, if you count Jalen Walker. 33. Bucks, pretty solid roster. You can still get Shaq Barrett back.
So my only thing is it works against you that I know who you're going to be taking there because it's a quarterback.
Yeah.
So here's my counter offer: 33rd pick and next year's 3rd.
That's it.
Wait, what was your next offer? It's a pick higher next year than you offered. You offered a 4th, right?
But I'm
And a
saying, wait. So
second.
I offered you
32.
swapping 33 for 19, and then giving you a 3rd this year, and then a 4th next year.
Oh, okay. Then a pair of 3rds.
So a pair of 3rds.
Pair of 3rds in the 33rd pick.
I think we'd be willing to do that.
Good.
Shador standard, baby.
Thank
Jeez,
you.
you good?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's crazy. I love that for the Browns. I don't know
And
how.
then
The
Yeah,
Colorado
yeah.
Buffalo connection.
33 and a pair and wait. Yeah, and then 67 is our pick this year.
67.
So
Oh,
33,
no deal then. I'm just kidding.
but 33, 67, and a third round next year.
33,
Third round next year.
Yeah.
67 and a third next year for 19.
Yeah.
It just said trade rejected.
It did say rejected. Oh, well. We're going with it.
Yeah.
We'll just remember that those picks are mine.
Yeah.
33 is mine.
It doesn't even let me
So
push
to-
it through on mine.
just so I'm not gonna be picking this pick, but I was gonna go with Malachi Starks here.
that would
Oh,
have
so-
that would have been a good pick.
You know what? I appreciate you almost not being a homer because obviously Malachi Starks is
I'm-
who you want at
I'm
21.
big on Malachi Starks, but I also think that he's a great fit for Tampa Bay.
And
So,
Shadur's locked in.
Yeah.
it's just-
Yeah,
So,
it won't let me make
just
the
throw-
trade
just-
on my
you're
end, but I'm
excited
just
on
gonna
it.
yeah, I'm just
All
gonna
right, so the Colorado connection, guys. Do you remember last year? Did we have a trade? We allowed trades, but I don't know if we
Definitely.
we
Because
did
I
that
remember at one point we like messed up.
We
I think we
talked
did
for a while.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
And then
Yeah.
obviously the Browns, we wanted to move up, get our guy Shador. Although I know Josie probably wouldn't go Shador there, another team could potentially try to trade up and get Shador if he were to fall that far. And I think that pairing Shador with Travis Hunter for the Browns is like ideal for them. It definitely makes a rookie season for Shador a lot more enticing.
does he
especially
start
as-
right away over Flacco?
I think he has the opportunity to win the job out.
Okay,
If this
I-
happens,
so
I'm
is Flacco
putting
in
in
pole
a
position?
lot of money on Deion Sanders, next Cleveland Browns coach.
I would agree.
Hard to disagree. Kevin Stefanski's going to be here for a while.
I agree with that.
I think that, like, for a rookie, one of the most important things that they can have to help them is, like, having a safety blanket receiver. He has one that he already has a good connection with. Like, that makes his rookie season and, like, what he's able to do on the field.
He's
It
starting,
op-
is he
it
starting
opens
right
things
away.
up. I think he could start right away, or I think he could be like, all right, Browns got an easier, not that any matchup's easy, but an easier team that they try to ease him in, like, maybe week 4, 5, 6, and they're like, all right, sure, you're starting this week, full
Where
prepared.
the
try to
bye
use it.
week is, you
Yeah.
give him an extra week of preparation.
But I also think that, like, he could start this year.
So Broncos.
Naples, I'm just gonna say I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Such
I
a nice
appreciate
guy.
Browns fan over here.
I
Browns
appreciate
fan Cooper.
Yeah.
Are you sad?
And I'm Eli.
Yeah,
I don't know about you,
Sure.
but for the Browns
Is that who
come
you are?
Thursday, if we
Yeah.
swap, if we gave up
I don't know.
33 and 2/3, a third this year and a third next, to go up and get Shador to pair
I
him
don't
with
like
Travis Hunter,
Shador. It'd be fun.
but to pair him with
It'd be
Travis
fun.
Hunter though,
It'd be fun. No. Do I want to win a Super Bowl or do I want to have fun?
you don't think they could win a Super Bowl?
Not Shador. No, Shador.
Why? Why are you a
quarterback.
Shador hater? But
I
do you
don't think
believe
he's
in
a
the system?
quarterback.
Do you believe in the system? Do you
What's
believe in
the
the Stefanski
Stefanski
system?
or
Do you
the
believe in the
Aslan
Stefanski
the
system?
Browns
system?
culture.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the Stefanski system?
Not with Shador at
second.
quarterback.
But Shador's the perfect quarterback for his system.
Easy on the Stefanski.
Nah, I just
He is the
think-
perfect quarterback.
I just don't
for
want.
I just
He,
need to
it's
see
just
the
gonna be
design.
media. It's
Shador,
gonna be like, I don't
what
want-
can Shador do good? He throws really accurate passes. He throws on time.
At or behind the line of scrimmage.
Short and intermediate routes he
And-
goes well.
Travis Hunter caught a lot of deep balls at Colorado.
That's
Let's
because
not
Yeah,
forget.
because Travis Hunter.
and they have them both on the Browns.
Going against North Dakota
Anyway,
State.
Shador does all the things that Stefanski would want from a quarterback. Think about Joe
I think
Flacco.
it's exciting. You're just not gonna get me to
See,
say I want.
Darius
Shador,
Slay
but
is locking
that's
Travis Hunter
exciting.
down.
And then Joey
okay?
Porter is getting
Yeah.
called for a holding on the other side.
Yeah,
baby.
Joey Porter. Yeah, Joey. Oh, holy.
Darius Slay's gonna pick 6, and then Joey Porter's gonna call for a hold and is coming back.
And then you'll have Pickens on the side.
Anyway. Denver's on the
DK.
Denver's on the clock.
DK fighting
And
the
you're
corner.
on the clock as well.
Oh, I am Denver. Okay.
Yeah.
And
George Payton.
man, I know a lot.
I appreciate. Hold on. I don't disagree or agree with the pick, but I appreciate the content that you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
created.
No, that's
Yeah.
it'd be very exciting as a Browns fan.
Now,
You going Hampton?
Hampton is a chalky pick for Denver. However,
Bro,
However.
that's
here's what I think. I think if Denver gets to the clock right here and Luther Burden's there, Go ahead and give me Luther Burden 10 times out of 10. I think you're going to have a bigger impact with Luther Burden on this offense with Sean Payton than you are with a running back, especially with how deep this running back class is. So I'm going to lock in Luther Burden now for the Broncos. I just think that that's another position of need for them. Like, outside of, like, they have a couple young guys. Like, it depends how you feel about Cortland Sutton. I don't think he's a true number one. I think that if you have someone like Luther Burden on the outside who can stretch the field, you have Cortland Sutton run those, like, stick routes, have him work to the
Slant
sideline, and slant boy. I think if you have that, and then you have, Mims and, who's the other guy? Vele?
Marvin Mims,
Devon
Devon
Vele.
Vele,
Mims
Troy
and-
Franklin.
Yeah, exactly. You have a lot of those guys mixed in there. I think that adds a lot more versatility to the offense that Sean Payton can do. And then later on, let's see if maybe we go running back in the second round with Denver. We'll just have to find out.
So you're
Yeah.
Luther Burden over Matthew Golden
And a Buka.
and
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Luther Burden's a stud.
I think all these wide receivers are like it's different rankings for whoever.
And I think it's fit.
Do
Like,
you-
I think that Luther Burden fits better with Denver than those other receivers.
So we just mentioned all the young, intriguing options. You just added a first-round guy. Do you now try to trade Cortland Sutton, save some extra cap, maybe go after a running back? I know you mentioned the draft. Maybe go after another edge rusher, maybe another running back. Like JK.
I mean, I think that we're definitely going to target running back at some point in this draft for Denver, and I think that makes sense with how many good you can get a starting running back in the third, fourth round of this draft.
So are you
Easy.
shopping Sutton, or are you gonna keep? him?
We'll keep him on this year. I don't know what his contract details are, but he's not getting paid a ton of money, and
He's on the last year. Was
yeah, and he's on last year. Like I'd be more than fine letting him walk after this year.
Keep him, get a comp
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy letting him walk after this year.
All right, the pick we've all been waiting for, the Pittsburgh.
Oh boy, Jesse.
He's
Yes.
up in the
Yes,
Pittsburgh
it is.
tee.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe.
So the three
Yeah,
players that
right.
I was talking about whenever I picked almost picked for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
And I know he loves Malachi Starks.
were Shadur Sanders. So if I'm the Steelers, I don't trade up for Shadur, but if he's there at 21, I take him. Derek Harmon, the tackle from Oregon, which I know the Steelers are in love with. That's the guy. If he's there at 21, that is the pick. Like 110%, that's the
Yep.
pick. And then the other one is Malachi Starks, who I personally have a love affair with. So I think I'm gonna
Sorry,
stick with.
Kelsey.
That'd be such a good pick for them.
It would,
Malachi
but
Starks.
I like the idea of Derek Harmon too much. I also like him a lot in the position that he plays. You need a transition plan for Cam Hayward because at some point in the next 2, maybe 3 seasons, he's going to be retiring more than likely. And you need a nose tackle. So like he can rotate into nose tackle. He can play D tackle behind Cam. Learn from him. I think Derek Harmon is definitely the pick here.
Good pick, good pick.
I agree and think.
I like it, Josie.
Yeah.
Again, it's not the flashiest pick. Nobody wants to take a D tackle.
Sorry, flashy doesn't result in wins, and the Steelers have not done a lot of that in January over the last decade.
It's like, what did the Eagles do?
Building trenches.
Building
Shout out
trenches.
to the Steelers assistant GM Andy Weedle coming from Philly. Now picking for the Chargers. I have a lot of pseudo favorite teams in the NFL. Tampa Bay is one of them. Anyone really in the McShanahan tree, and then the Chargers.
Even on.
It is.
Still
yes.
worried,
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about the battery, but I might check it real quick.
Keep going.
So the Chargers.
That's
Cool.
you.
Yeah. Colston Loveland could be the guy here.
Got
But Jim Harbaugh.
43.
Jim Harbaugh loves his trenches, and I just said it earlier.
No, Loveland's already off the board.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
If he's still available, my mock draft 3.0, Josie just went Derek Harmon, who the Steelers definitely prefer over this guy because the Steelers don't really hide what they're doing every draft season. They're pretty open about it.
They check all 3 boxes.
Yep. Let's go ahead and put Kenneth Grant, reunite a Michigan
Oh.
Wolverine with Jim
Yeah,
Harbaugh.
that's a good pick.
Good pick.
I think that's a good pick.
I think it'd be that one.
It's a
This
good pick,
one.
but it's also a realistic pick.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm very excited here for the Packers pick. You know I'm a known Packers hater. Packers
It's about to go
love
Jalen
hate
Milroe,
relationship.
Jackson Dart.
You know, I think that if I'm the
I
Packers,
swear Naples.
He's going to Emory.
if I'm the Packers, this isn't something the Packers do. What do the Packers normally do at in these middle to late first round picks?
Never
They
draft a
don't
wide
take-
receiver.
They pick some random defensive player who becomes an okay starter, no one that blows your socks off.
Buka.
But what are they doing now? They're going to get them a true wide receiver one and Emeka Ibuka. Although in another future of different mocks that ran through my head, I'd love for the Browns to end up with Shador at 2 and then Ibuka at 33. In this scenario, I think the Packers love Emeka Ibuka here, and they take him to just take their offense to another level. Jordan Love needs all the help he can get, but he stinks. So to get in a consummate pro, don't be fooled. Emeka Ibuka is the number one. Just because he played with Marvin Harrison and Jeremiah Smith and all these other guys who could probably better than him, but just because they're better doesn't mean he's not really good too.
It just means he's more humble. He just means he's humble. He's humble enough to be a 2.
Yeah.
What I really see Green Bay doing here is if the Steelers are serious about wanting to trade George Pickens, is the Packers trading for George Pickens.
Yeah, and if they
Yeah.
trade for
Giving up
George
what, their
Pickens, I obviously don't
second
think
Second
they
and
take
third,
receiver.
I think.
Second and a third.
But I think what would happen is the Steelers.
And give you guys
Steelers-
You
Dobbs.
said a second and a third.
And but you guys get Dobbs back though.
Steelers would move back
They're not
to
gonna
23.
They're not gonna keep Watson, Reed, Dobbs,
Oh,
and George
yeah.
Pickens. Like
Which
they're not gonna.
The Steelers were rumored around the trade deadline last year to be interested in Dobbs.
Yeah. So
So
Well,
I
last year they
personally-
were rumored to be interested in every wide receiver.
I'm personally a Dontavian Wicks guy. I think Dontavian Wicks
Big
is
Wicks
a really
guy.
good wide receiver. So
I'm blind. Who is Minnesota?
I am. I'm on
Okay.
Vikings. So biggest need it says is safety. I like the
really,
idea.
that's what yours says.
Mine says safety.
Mine says running back, D line, and DB.
Mine says safety, corner, guard, edge, running back.
Yeah, I definitely think that the secondary is a
Yeah,
point to
oh,
target for them.
absolutely. And that's the thing is like you look at who is potentially there and who would fit the best in a Brian Flores led system. And I think the versatility of Malachi Starks
Yeah.
here is way
Oh,
too
yeah.
good to pass up on. I love it personally. I mean, I
Yeah.
said this earlier. I have a love affair with this guy. I think he's going to be an absolute animal. I'm going Malachi Starks with this.
That's
pick.
a that's a
I'm
really
running it to the podium. 'cause,
Yeah.
Like, if
Him
he
and
could
Harrison
have
And
Smith,
I don't
like-
I don't
gone
think he'll
3
be
picks
there.
before
But,
this.
yeah, I don't think he'll be there.
Yeah.
Like in the actual draft, but he might. Like
Yeah.
there, no one knows. Like picks 5 through 32 could be anybody. Like you really don't know.
No,
and
5 shot. It's Mason Graham.
and we'll see. That'd be definitely. As each day passes on, I'm more and more confident it's not Mason Graham. I'm not as sure that it's Tyler Warren, but I'm pretty sure it's not Mason. Could be
We'll
Genty.
see. We'll see.
Could be Genty.
Put some money on it.
We did.
Yeah.
Kind of.
All right, 25. The Texans. Cooper, you're on the clock. Texans. They're also another team that completely revamped their offensive line. The offensive line, though, we really picked through it. Donovan Jackson and Tyler Booker are probably the next 2 off the board. Both of those guys, guards, though. Is that the direction you're headed?
I wanna say yeah, but I'm also
Take the Ohio State man.
I don't really like this pick for Houston here at all.
Who
If
do you
anything,
think they want to trade back?
I would trade back here if I'm
Hey,
Houston.
fools.
Um,
Anyone want another wide receiver?
All right, Cleveland's moving back in the first.
I'll give you a 4th as the Lions. I'm only 4 spots below you. You have to miss the Rams and the Ravens.
A lot of edge rushers still on the board. The problem is Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. That's pretty much as good as it gets.
Yeah, I'm not taking edge.
Still,
The thing I am really considering
Put someone
is
in the
Jahad
middle.
Campbell.
Put someone in the middle between those 2 edge rushers.
there's some pretty good DBs still
I'll give you a
available.
4th, the 1st, and I'll guarantee you I don't take Jahad Campbell.
No, I am.
do that.
Jahad Campbell.
Hey, John Campbell.
To be
I
fair,
am
that is
happy
something
to-
that happens in trades where
I mean,
like,
yeah, but
you can't.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
probably
you
like,
can
dude, I'm not
verify
taking your guy.
You're also going to ruin the relationship.
I'm not
with
taking
GM,
his-
who's never gonna
I'm
trust you
actually
in the
not
future.
taking this guy.
Yeah.
What about receiver here?
I
Give
know
me a
what I
receiver
do
and
know what I'm
fullbacks.
going here.
I mean,
I
Tank
could
Delzo
trade
is
back.
there. They
I
don't
could
have
trade
it.
back, or I could bolster my secondary. I'm gonna go Trey Amos.
Like it.
Him and Derek Stingley could be dangerous.
Who's the Rams? You, Josie? Are you the Rams?
Yes, I'm the Rams. Yep.
Or are we potentially seeing the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford here at this pick?
Here's the thing: Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe with Sean McVay would be amazing.
It would.
With that said, this is a team that's firmly in their Super Bowl
Oh,
window.
yeah.
So do you want to grab another player that can hopefully get you ahead of the Eagles or the Lions? You can make the argument the Rams were the second best team in football last year.
You could.
They were the only team that gave Philly a run for their money.
Yeah, I tend to agree with the fact that they are in a Super Bowl window now, and like they've been in the Super Bowl window for a while, but like we don't know how long Matt Stafford's going to be there. I'm not crazy about quarterback here, but I do agree that either one of those two would fit in that system because like you're not, although Matt Stafford can do a lot, you're not asked to do a whole lot. You're just asked to do the routine things routinely, to steal that Mike Tomlin colloquialism. I think that the thing that would help the most right now, from a Super Bowl window perspective, what can take me over the hump this year? No. What's going to take me over the hump is
I wonder who Eli's trying to trade up for.
off-ball linebacker, and I think that Jahad Campbell here is a really good pick because
Nice.
your front four is stellar. I think we saw that last year, that when they went nose to the grindstone, head-to-head with the Eagles and almost beat them in the playoffs, like, that front four is amazing, and you need some backup to that, and you need some help in the run game.
Yeah.
So, I think Jahad
That's a good
Campbell's a good pick. And even if he has to miss like 2 games because of a shoulder injury, he'll be back
Yeah.
by the middle of the season at the very latest.
Yeah, and you're talking about a defense that got really young, got a lot of really good talent last year with Verse, Braden Fisk. They got a couple guys like could be a really like
Is off-ball linebacker, you think, one of the positions that has dropped off the most in drafts?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a little underrated
Just
for a
quality,
position.
or not quality, but value in the NFL.
I think it's
With running
underrated.
back.
I think it's underrated. I think it should be a little.
You think
I
there's
think
too
I
much
think
of a correction?
yeah, I think it should be valued a little higher than it is now. Just because like you're talking about guys that they plug the holes for like stopping running backs. They're able to read the quarterback, even spying the quarterback.
Sideline to sideline.
Like yeah,
coverage.
exactly. Like you're talking about when, especially if you play in a division like with a lot of mobile quarterbacks, like someone who can spy the quarterback and track him down and run with him is like pretty important.
I do think that it's not necessary. I think that there has been a devaluation. I don't think that's solely just on the direction of the NFL. I think that's also the linebackers that we have in this
They're all
generation.
safeties.
And probably an increase
Like-
in value of edge rushers at the
I'm
same
taking
time. you know?
Bobby
Yeah.
Wagner, Luke Kuechly,
If
those
Matthew
guys ahead of
Golden
Roquan
falls to the
Smith
Ravens,
and Fred Warner
I'd be
Yeah.
right now by a mile.
I'd be pissed.
I have the Ravens.
You have the Ravens?
So,
Like in real life, that'd make me so mad.
if what happened?
If the Ravens take a certain guy, make me so mad.
So we'll see. There's a guy who stands out to me by a mile. Josie and I kind of have a tradition, I feel like, during draft time where whenever the Ravens or the Eagles pick, we just go, of course this player's available. It's like we just know these teams so well. We're like, yep, that guy's available. How in the world is that going to work out? That's just not fair. It's a cheat code.
Nate Wiggins last year.
Yeah, Nate Wiggins last year. I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the same guy as Naples. I am going to go with one of my favorite players in the draft who's actually not mocked to go in the first all the time. I'm going to go with Xavier Watts.
Oh,
You pair
nice.
Xavier Watts with Kyle Hamilton. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
That's a good pick.
And now picking 2 safeties in the first round in a combination of 4 years, that's an interesting one because the value of the safety position is definitely lower. But
It's a
you-
versatile safety.
yeah, and you're getting
Yeah.
2 playmakers like that. That's just
And
ridiculous.
Notre Dame guys, both
Yep.
of them.
Yeah, no, I was
Like
talking about Matthew Golden. If the Ravens get Matthew Golden and they just pair him on the opposite side of Zay Flowers with Rashad Bateman and like in the slot or something, or even run Zay in the slot, like they just make me
I think
so
it's definitely a possibility. There are just so many weapons, both at the running back and tight end position, plus some wide receivers already. Where, I don't know. I would rather go in the direction of an offensive line or safety
Oh,
in here.
Oh yeah, I mean like logically that makes more sense, but I'm just saying like,
Yeah.
in real life the Ravens get Matthew Golden, it's like, dude, they can't just be getting away with this.
Detroit on the board, edge rusher. I mean, probably going to be where
Detroit.
this goes. Who has Detroit?
Eli,
This is
remember he was
what I
trying to trade up.
up.
Did your guy get picked that you're trying to trade
no.
up for? Yeah, so there you go.
So I
So
like.
smart
There
move to
is
stay.
one edge rusher that I,
Is
one
it-
and a half that I really like.
Is it McKell?
But
McKell's my favorite on the board. James
It's
Pierce
not.
a close
I
second.
agree. agree with
James
that.
Pierce is who I'm thinking of.
Shamar Stewart dropping.
Mhm.
I think that's just that's gonna happen.
You're not a fan of his?
Well, I just think he's like, oh my gosh, he has all these things, but then it's like, yeah, but he really should be like a second round pick.
All right,
He's a freak.
Yeah, he is.
tell me if I'm stupid.
And he's A&M.
Okay.
Stupid.
I want to go Walter Nolan really bad here. I think
Sure.
they need it. They have pairing edge rushers with edge rushers is awesome. I think it's underrated pairing edge rushers with a D tackle. You've seen the Steelers do it with like Cam Hayward and T.J. Watt. It's like you plug a hole with a run, and then you got another dude flying around the corner. Walter Nolan. I know he was a little disappointing in college. He was arguably the best prospect in his class, but one of those A&M guys that ended up falling off and then transferred to Ole Miss. Those guys that are productive in college but not to the point, like if you would ask somebody scout 4 years ago, where does Walter Nolan go? It's like top 5, right? And like he was a very highly recruited kid. So when guys like that don't totally pan out but still fall into like the first round ish, then I think that's really intriguing because you know that they're physically gifted. It's just all that production wasn't there that people were expecting out of high school.
Was he the character issues guy?
Character issues,
Yeah.
effort issues.
I mean, it was like
Which,
all
to be
those
fair, that was
A&M
Jalen
guys.
Carter. That
Right.
was Jalen Carter's big knock too.
A&M just picked up like D lineman after D lineman, and then they all like kind of flopped in college. But I do like James Pierce a lot, but I'm gonna go with Walter Nolan.
It's good picks. I like that. The commies are on the clock.
Yes. It's not me, but
Yeah, it's me.
yeah.
Yeah.
The way you introed that definitely seemed like
Yeah.
that was
No, I was like, well,
I think they're gonna take.
Well,
No, this one's exciting. I'm excited to see what you
So-
guys here.
Do you get Jaden Daniels, Matthew Golden?
Matthew Golden.
Matthew Golden
Love
is a nice option here for Jaden Daniels. However,
They also need an edge rusher. Trey Hendrickson.
I think that Hayden's not gonna like this pick very much. But I think that
I have no idea what.
getting Amari and Hampton here for the Commanders, I think would be an awesome fit. You could talk about the read option game that they'd be able to have. Think about out of the backfield what he'd be able to do as a receiver for them. I think he's just as much a weapon as Matthew Golden could be in this offense, and like with Cliff Kingsbury, like the things that he can do with the running back is pretty impressive. So I think that that's a real nice addition to their offense.
I don't hate it.
I like that
He's
pick
not.
a
He's
lot.
not my cup of tea, but I mean the value here is undeniable
Yeah.
for where he's being
And
mocked.
he fits the prototype, the archetype of what they have there as a running back already. with
He's a better
Robinson.
Brian Robinson.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think Brian
With the
Robinson
top
just
speed.
like with the injuries and just like not being able to stay on the field is like kind of what's hurting him. But like Brian Robinson as a number 2,
Sure.
that's
Power
a
power back
Yeah.
situations.
Oh yeah.
So the Bills, there's a receiver I really, really, really want to get in the second round for the Bills because I think you pair him opposite Keon Coleman. They're just two monsters. But I'd be very bummed if I missed on that receiver and didn't go receiver here. So this isn't the receiver I'm talking about. There's somebody later on that I want, but I am going to go with Matthew Golden here. We've talked about him a lot these past few picks. The Bills, they need receivers. They finally drafted one last year and followed up with another one.
I think the Bills would be
He'd be-
ecstatic.
And I think they could potentially try to trade up if Matthew Golden slips into the 20s.
Well, they traded out of a spot where they could have taken Xavier
Yeah.
Worthy last year out of Texas.
Yeah.
Guy with a really fast 40 time.
Oh,
I think Matthew Golden has a chance to be better than Xavier Worthy. With
Oh,
his
yeah.
route running ability and his shiftiness, those are things that Xavier Worthy doesn't really have. He's just kind of a straight line guy.
For sure.
So I think Matthew Golden has a chance to
Yeah.
be better.
I'm interested to see where the Chiefs go, man. Who's the Chiefs?
Well, I'll
Who-
tell you here.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see because a lot of the tackles that normally have been getting mocked to them are off the board,
Mhm.
and they need a tackle.
This is a Chiefs team with a lot more holes than we've seen probably in the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I am looking at either offensive line or edge here.
Mm.
I like Mikael Williams, but I think I'm just going to go with Tyler Booker. Get that offensive guard locked up. I think he's going to be pretty good, especially next to Creed Humphrey there. And hopefully Pacheco can get a little bit more. You can just get a little bit more out of him in the run game. Who's their RB2?
Kareem
Kareem
Hunt.
Hunt.
And then you have Carson Steele still
Did they
there.
sign Graham Hunt to a multi-year deal?
I don't think multi-year, but he is back.
He
They
is
re-signed
back.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooper, I've actually never been more proud of you.
Hmm.
Like in
That was a good pick.
in the 3 years of knowing you, You did jack me up big time though,
You were
Is
because
that who you're gonna go with the Eagles?
yeah, the Eagles are an interesting one. They could use another edge rusher. I mean, no matter who they're picking, it's a luxury pick. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
This has been the best roster in football for years. I don't love the addition of Kenyon Green at guard. I really liked Mekhi Becton there. So Tyler Booker was a no-brainer first rounder in my opinion.
Did you say Kenyon Green?
Yeah.
Who used to be on the Steelers?
Kendrick Green is the Steelers.
Kenyon
front
Green was a second round guard out, first round guard out to Houston.
Yeah. So I mean, I am proud of you, but still, screw you. Anybody want to trade up for a Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe? Get the 5th-year option from Philly.
Hang on.
Radio
I
silence.
think we're good.
Radio silence.
I think
Alright.
Cleveland's good. We got our guy.
Um,
The Packers might be interested in Jalen Miller.
I mean, edge rusher is. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that edge rushers have struggled to come off the board so far for us.
I'll give you a 5th as the Giants. I'm 2 back.
You know,
That's a freebie.
in real life, I don't think they would do that.
Really, a 5th for like
Yeah,
2
in this-
spots?
In this, I'll
And
take
it's a
it.
divisional opponent.
Because-
They're rival too, so
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if
That's
Philly
the
can
point.
get their hands on a, I don't think it's going to happen, but a TJ Watt or a Trey Hendrickson, I think that's better than a Mikael Williams. Mikael, though, is tempting, and there was another position,
There
but
you go.
yeah, whatever, you said a 4th or a 5th?
5th.
5th? Yeah, sure, why not? The Giants are back on the clock, presumably for the 3rd quarterback off the board.
Yeah, I'm going Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart.
I like Quinn Ewers, but I just think like, again, logically, Quinn's not going above Jackson. But for Jackson to fall this late, I mean, I obviously,
Something so bad.
I knew I was gonna
He has the
get.
pick.
I know.
I knew I could have just sat there,
Yeah,
but
Tampa's on the clock.
with Hayden mentioning the 5th-year option, thought it was a good idea. I'll throw a 5th rounder his way and go Jackson Dart.
Nice.
Yeah. Donovan Jackson was a possibility. Josie, before you get going, I do want to recap the first round. So Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Amarnd Membu, Tyler Warren, Ashton Genty, Will Campbell, Will Johnson, and Mason Graham, Josh Simmons round out the top 10. Then Kelvin Banks, Ted McMillan to Dallas, Jade Barron, Loveland goes to Indy, Mike Green, finally get another edge rusher off the board, Jalen Walker to Arizona, Gray Zabel, Josh Connerly, so a little bit of run on offensive linemen. Naples made the blockbuster trade to trade back into the first round, so Cleveland's going to have the Colorado connection moving forward with Shador and Travis Hunter. He picked another wide receiver the next pick with Luther Burden going to Denver. Derek Harmon goes to the Steelers. Kenneth Grant to the Chargers. Ibuka to the Green Bay Packers. Malachi Starks will be
Pick
playing
right there.
alongside Harrison Smith. Trey Amos, Jahad Campbell goes to the loaded Rams. Xavier Watts to Baltimore. Walter Nolan, the boomer bust prospect, to Detroit. Omarion Hampton falls to the Commies. Matthew Golden to Buffalo. Tyler Booker, screw you, Cooper, goes to the Chiefs. And then Jackson Dart, the Giants trade up at the bottom of round 1. Round 2, Friday night, we're at Josie's house eating some Colony pizza. Who do the Bucks take?
So it is still just between 2 positions here. So I'm not opposed to taking a safety here because I do think that Nick Eamon is a 2nd round pick. I don't know that he's a top of the 2nd round pick and my first pick as the
You have to be
Buccaneers.
ecstatic that the edge rushers are still on.
I am.
What about Kevin Winston?
That's the next.
You played this beautifully if this
Yeah.
is how it turns out.
Because like honestly, I probably would have considered
Yeah,
taking.
I think both teams would be very happy.
Yeah. I would say honestly, I'd probably be comfortable taking Shamar Stewart or maybe Michael Williams at the pick that I had in 19. And so like having both of those guys still on the board, it's like
If the Browns trade back up for Shador, sorry not to get you up, if they trade back up for Shador on Thursday,
yeah.
I'm going crazy.
I'm going back and forth because I do like the potential upside of Shamar Stewart, the fact that he's from Texas A&M, which there's been some Hall of Fame guys to come out of there between Myles Garrett and Von Miller. But a couple years ago, I took Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who was a really athletic edge rusher, and he didn't really pan out there. I think Micah Williams is the safer pick here, and I think with how I've missed on edge rusher in the past decade, outside of trading for Shaq Barrett or signing him, whatever they did, like they've been pretty bad at edge rusher. So give me Micah Williams and run that pick in.
Bring back Carl Nassib.
both Shaq Barrett and JPP
The Eagles are
free
on the
agent
clock now,
signings.
right?
Yeah.
The Eagles are. Anybody want to trade up for Jalen Milrow? I'll continue to trade back.
Just keep collecting picks you
yeah.
don't need.
I mean, I was joking, but not really. Anybody want to trade up?
No,
Anybody?
I
Travion
think we're good.
Henderson?
I think we're
No.
good.
All right.
Why don't you get the heir apparent to Barkley and take Travion to the Eagles? Why
well,
not?
If Cleveland still had their pick, that's where I would have wanted you to go. The
Oh,
Nick
yeah.
Chubb replacement.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I was talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean like that or like in that scenario like that would be a really good pick. Like I would love that for the Browns.
So here I am. I'm Philly. Donovan Jackson's really intriguing to me.
Get a safety. Get your boy Kevin Winston.
That's more of Eli's boy.
I know.
I am gonna go edge rusher, and it's funny. Probably the second and third most athletic edge rushers are available. They're really boom or bust in Shamar Stewart and James Pierce. I'm gonna go Shamar Stewart.
Nice.
Because the potential of him and Nolan Smith coming off the edge is ridiculous. You can take some time to develop him. You still have Bryce Huff there, so Shamar Stewart. Yep.
Eli's Titans are on the clock, and are they going edge rusher?
Yep, we'll keep
Yeah,
the run.
James Pierce.
So I would have went whoever Hayden didn't go, but honestly, I do prefer James Pierce. Similar to the reason that I preferred Walter Nolan. If you ask somebody a year ago, hey, who gets drafted in the top 5? James Pierce was like was most people's number 1 pick a year ago
Ahead
or
of
before.
Abdul.
Right,
Yeah.
Before the college season started. So a lot of people thought he was the number 1 pick, if not the number 1, the number 2 or 3. So again, just that upside didn't have as much production as people hoped for this year, but still a freak if you ever get mentioned in the same vein as same sentence as a number 1 pick. So I'm gonna go James Pierce Jr. here and hope he even sees a shadow of that.
It's a good pick. Good pick. Now Jacksonville's on the clock.
Grab another tight end.
And like we say, like we said, you know, they do need to address defense in the rest of this draft. With that being said, we will go corner here. I think that their secondaries definitely needs help. Although I mean they need help everywhere on defense. It's outside of like their 2 edge rushers of Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. Like everything else pretty much needs help. So I think that Maxwell Harrison still being on the board, he's my next rated corner coming off the board. I think that he's a great pick for the Jags. I think he gives them some versatility, some length at corner, something that they desperately need, especially if they're going to be playing against like Nico Collins and whoever else is they're going to pick.
Yeah, great pick. I wouldn't be surprised if Thursday night we're sitting on our couch and he goes in the top 20. Like great value there.
That 40 skyrocketed him.
Yeah.
So what did 428? Is that what it was, right?
Yeah, no, I think he's definitely a first round corner, but just the way that the board and the trades have fallen, I think that it's good value.
Who are you gonna make a trade?
Ooh, this is interesting. So Vegas on the clock right now with Cooper. Josie, who do you want to trade up as?
The Steelers.
As the Steelers.
Do you want George Pickens?
Is this where Jalen Milrow comes off the board?
Georgie.
Do the Raiders go Milrow? Do the Steelers go Milrow?
Raiders, that's dude,
Okay,
that's
so-
a Raiders pick.
Before,
Him and Genty.
if the Steelers had a second, I would trade here because I don't think you're gonna go Milrow. But as a Vegas, as Vegas, I want Milrow here. Is it a reach? Yes. But do I think is he gonna last until the 3rd round? I don't see
Learn
him
behind
lasting.
Geno for a year or two. Have Genty ready in his like junior year in the NFL, ready for Milrow.
So I'm going Milrow.
I mean, the talent's undeniable. I think he has
It-
a
it is-
higher
it's a
ceiling
reach.
Yeah.
than.
It
I mean,
is.
the upside's there.
Yeah.
I mean,
He'll be a
let's
solid
say
running back in a couple
he
years.
let's say he turns out to be in the ballpark of what Lamar Jackson has turned out to be. That's a W.
Yes,
I'm
but
not
that's
saying-
lofty
Yeah,
expectations.
but we
That-
also didn't know Lamar was going to be Lamar until he was, right?
I agree. and
Like
I-
he was same thing, could run a lot. There was questions about his arm. People wanted him to play receiver. He was traded up for him, was the last pick in the 1st round. So like it's not like Lamar was an all around top 5 pick.
I am interested on who advised him to come out because I'm sure Bama would have.
I think
Carl
he
Massey.
was.
But
Sure.
why?
Sam,
I'm
Sam.
sure
Yeah.
Bama would have given you a great NIL deal, and especially if Arch Manning doesn't come out in 2026. I think Milrow, another year in college developing, kind of clear up some of the scary things about you. I feel like he's a top 10 pick maybe next year,
Yeah.
and now he's second fringe first rounder. I don't know. I do get especially in the NIL era, if I'm a quarterback, I'm using like almost all of my
Yeah.
eligibility.
Well, I
just
think-
because who knows if you're gonna have a Kenny Pickett year and skyrocket from a 4th round pick to a 1st.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier.
So you
Do
did
you-
officially you took Jalen Miller off, right? Okay.
I think that maybe Jalen Raylow's thinking, you know what, maybe I do need a little bit more development. If I come out this year, do I go to a team that's better? Do I go to a team like the Rams that maybe have a situation where I can sit and learn? Or the Raiders that in the second round, I can sit behind Geno for a year or two, I can learn, I can develop, I can work on some of those things, and all of a sudden, you're on a better team with better structure around you rather than, oh, I'm a top 5, top 10 pick, and I'm going to a team that needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Patriots want a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, you want to trade me George Pickens? For real?
I mean, for this pick and
Not straight up. That's fair.
4th, do you think he's worth a 2nd and a 4th?
Yeah.
Or do you want to potentially talk about like one of the wide receivers on your depth chart, like a Demario Douglas, Javon Baker type player?
I'll give you Javon Baker in this pick for a second. I think that's fair.
Or George Pickens? You're saying?
Yeah, so I give up Baker and the 38th for George Pickens.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, so I was looking just while you, I'm sure you know who you traded up for. I used my first pick on Membu for the Patriots, get the probably number 1 pure tackle in the draft. Donovan Jackson, just continue to build through the offensive line was definitely a possibility. Travion Henderson, he's my favorite running back in the draft, so going here, not necessarily a need, but I think the superstar potential. And then Trey Harris was probably going to be the pick. I think that made the most sense. But George Pickens, Stephon Diggs, all of a sudden Drake May, who me and Josie are both high on, starts to get some weapons. You still have Stevenson, Hunter Henry. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Pittsburgh's on the clock at 38.
So I could go a couple different ways with this. I could draft a replacement receiver. I do like Trey Harris. I talked about it in last week's pod. I think he might fall a little bit further than people are expecting, but I think the talent is there. I'm comfortable as the Steelers, assuming they don't sign Rodgers, drafting a 4th round quarterback, drafting a Quinn Ewers, drafting a Will Howard in the 4th round. Shuck, yeah, exactly.
I heard a comp today that they're saying Will Howard's comp is like his ceiling could be like a Big Ben.
There, perfect. There you go.
Big Ben.
Who is that? Will Howard.
So I mean,
Hold on, I hate those. Oh, his ceiling is he
Oh,
could
yeah,
be a Hall of
yeah.
Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
Not on you, like
Yeah.
just like these comps are ridiculous.
His floor's I don't know,
Yeah.
EJ Manuel.
Yeah, like,
yeah, but I mean that being said, some people have this guy's RB1. I think he's probably RB2 in my opinion. But just the explosiveness is something that the Steelers haven't had for a very long time. I'm going Travion Henderson.
is some people me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's probably 2 behind Genti, but I don't hate the argument that he could be the best running back in this draft. Especially with where Genti's going, the expectations are going to be that he needs to be,
Come out the gate and be a 1,500-yard
exactly. He needs to be Derrick Henry right away. He needs to be Saquon Barkley right away. It's like if he doesn't do that for the first 3 years, like people might start talking about Travion Henderson being the best.
Yeah.
running
No,
back.
I'm totally with you. I'm not high on Ashton Genti at all. But I feel like there's such a pressure to take him top 10 that
I think Genti's gonna be amazing.
I do
You
like-
you and I can talk
Look-
later because you
look-
haven't been
look
on
at
in a couple
running
weeks. You and
backs.
I have a similar.
Look at running backs that do similar to what he did in college, and then look at how they turned out in the NFL.
They
They're
don't run a
all
4.55.
amazing. They're all amazing.
They don't run a 4.55.
They're all
I mean,
amazing.
did he officially run a 4.55?
No, he was scared to run a 4.55 because he wanted to be a 6.
He didn't run
Did
a
he want to be
40.
Xavier Restrepo?
Alright, well, game speed's different. Just look like all the guys that did similar things in college, like running rampant like that, all amazing running backs in the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard him labeled as the best running back prospect since Saquon. Saquon didn't have a weakness coming.
I gotta
I
say,
thought
I
it was a
think
good one. Trent Richardson.
Trevorson didn't nearly what this guy did.
Did he win a Heisman or he was a Heisman?
He didn't
finalist?
Go
win a
look at the
Heisman.
numbers. He didn't put up close to the
Well,
numbers.
nobody has since
He
Barry
ran in the
Sanders.
That's what I'm
SEC
saying, though.
rather than the Mountain
Trent
West.
Richardson, didn't he win a Heisman?
Doesn't matter. Well,
No, Mark
no,
Ingram,
he
yeah.
didn't win the Heisman. But I'm saying, like, look at like Herschel Walker, look at Reggie Bush, look at.
We're
like,
going back to the
All the way
80s.
back.
all I'm saying is like look at but that's what I'm saying. people who do that, it's not often, but when they do that in college, they typically are really good in the NFL. And that's what I'm saying. Genty did something that rarely happens, and all the people that have rarely done that, all really good NFL backs.
We'll see. I think he's going to be good.
That's all I'm saying.
I think he's nowhere close to generational like some of the prospects that we've seen, like Bijan, Saquon, those kinds of guys.
Bijan's mid.
So the Bears on the clock. I drafted our tackle of the future. With how much I love linemen, I'm tempted to go grab Donovan Jackson and just continue to just bolster this
I
line
would
for the
love
future.
it.
Scatterboo.
No. So running back Travion Henderson probably would have been the pick here, teaming him up with DeAndre Swift, or then even trading DeAndre Swift. But Swift had a good year. Nick Amanawari as potentially the Kevin Byard replacement's also tempting. I don't know where I really. You know what? My favorite edge rusher.
Tyleek Williams inside.
That's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Tyleek Williams. I don't love the edge rushers. You could go wide receiver, but as shown from all of my picks for all the teams, I'm really trying to build from the trenches. Tyleek Williams.
All right, Aints, you're up. Who did you go with your first pick? Was it
Mason
Mason
Graham.
Graham?
Mason Graham in the fall.
Aren't the Saints me?
No.
No. Did you go? You went Ben
Same for
Morrison
the
with the
teammate.
Jags?
No, Ben Morrison.
No, Benjamin Morrison's available.
Who'd you go?
I went Maxwell Harrison.
Okay. All right, then I'm going
Benji?
with.
Or
No,
perhaps your boy, Kevin
You
Wentz.
did the Cardinals.
I'm going. I thought you went Ben Morrison. I love.
You're going Benjamin Morrison.
Yeah, I love the Notre Dame DBs this year. Love Xavier Watts. I'm gonna go with Ben Morrison here.
Nice. Good pick. And back to the Bears.
The Bears.
This is a huge spot. This is a huge draft for the Bears.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Potentially the draft that could take them from pretender to contender. If Caleb takes the
take
leap.
them up by 3 wins.
All I'm saying is
He
Caleb,
does that.
Caleb takes the leap you expect him to take, and they bolster up their line on both sides of the ball. Looking like
That's a scary team.
Yeah, it's a scary team.
I would say they look good on offensive line, which is
Alright.
the opposite of last year.
So the smart thing to do would be to go grab an edge rusher.
Would it?
Ezra Raku would be my their edge
Nick
rushers are
Swarton?
terrible. I prefer Ezra Raku. Honestly, I prefer. But I do think it's a little bit high for him. If I'm the Bears to the Steelers, the Bengals, the Cowboys, obviously the Cowboys, but Trey Hendrickson for pick 41, and then you might do Neil Parsons for a second. Neither of the Steelers probably. But like that's something. That's where I would go if I. I have the Bengals, I think. So
Push it through.
You're trading.
But that's what I am doing. Especially me and Naples in it. Maybe not just
Not the Bengals. We doing it?
you had Trey Hendrickson. I'm not going to do that, and I don't know how.
There's a conflict of interest there.
I think right now you look at the value. Donovan Jackson's somebody who I would have in the first round. Joe Tooney's getting older, and Jonah Jackson, there's no guarantee he goes back to his Pro Bowl days. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Donovan Jackson. So yeah,
They're going full in on the O line.
yeah, 2 of our first 3 picks are offensive linemen who might not even start this year, but the talent and the value, ridiculous, and 2 Ohio Staters for you, Naples. So
And then a 4th round pick, go and get Scatabo, whatever, however you say his name.
sure,
Scatterbo.
yeah,
Yes.
him and DeAndre
Yes.
Swift. That's
Oh,
There are so many running backs. I mean, we're obviously only doing a 2-round mock draft, but I mean, Quinshon Judkins, I would probably say is the next best guy. He's a starter day one.
You don't like Caleb Johnson?
I don't love the speed for him, honestly. Tuden, that's a sub 4.4 guy. He ran a 4.32. RJ Harvey is a stud. Ollie Gordon won the Doak Walker a couple of years ago. You have Damian Martinez. I know Naples is a fan of his. Running backs are just ridiculous this year. So are the tight ends. # Gavin Bartholomew should be picked way higher, but whatever.
Alright, I'm up next with the pick. The Jets. That's right. Reminder, in the first round I took Will Campbell.
Tyler Shuck comes in, starts over Joseph Fields.
Stop it. I
Perhaps
mean,
tight end.
as a Steelers fan, I'm on board with Justin Fields not being the answer there. But I also don't hate the guy, so it's like, I'm not gonna take a quarterback here, obviously. But
Third tight end off the board.
so what I'm thinking is I'm between Trey Harris and Mason Taylor is kind of where I'm going back and forth between. Because at wide receiver, you obviously lost Devontae Adams,
Yeah, but you
and you still have
still Garrett Wilson, still have Alan Lazard still there, I think, or maybe not.
He'll be traded to the Steelers once Aaron Rodgers
Yeah,
signs.
probably.
Yeah.
And then they'll sign Randall Cobb.
yeah,
They'll get the band back together.
yeah.
We'll trade for Mercedes Lewis.
Get Devon, yeah. Hey, get another year under the belt. Just add to that.
I think that this is just based on where I'm picking. I think this is a deeper tight end class than it is a wide receiver class, and I don't know that I'm gonna get a quality wide receiver as Trey Harris in the next round. So I'm going Trey Harris.
You like Trey Harris better than like a Jaden Higgins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I do love the Iowa State. I do agree with what you said about the tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
We probably only will see one more tight end go off the board in our mock draft, maybe two.
Yeah.
But in reality, we could see four. I could say five more would go in the top
Yeah.
2 rounds, plus the 2 we've already gone, so 7 tight ends in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
49ers, that is me. George Kittle talks have not been going well. Mason Taylor, I think, is a much better receiver and not as great of a blocker, which is obviously blocking is huge in the Shanahan offense. Part of me kind of wishes I would have left a line. What's up?
I was gonna say, what about defense? A lot of secondary pieces this offseason.
Listen, it seems like they're going to overpay for Brock Purdy. It seems like Purdy's going to get $50 million per year. And if that's the case, you need to surround him with all kinds of weapons. I don't love the fit here, but I do love the talent that is Mason Taylor, nephew of the legend of the game, Joy Taylor.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Mason Taylor's going to be the pick.
It's a good pick. I like that.
Hopefully we can turn him into a little bit more of a blocker, because as a receiver, he's great.
I think I'm the Cowboys. Yep, I'm the Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys?
So reminder, in the first round, I took Tedero McMillan.
Such a good pick.
Quinshon Judkins here.
I was
Honestly.
thinking the same
kind of-
thing.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the running backs that are left
He'd
on
be
there.
so good.
I love how we just all hate Nick Manowore.
Don't even hate him. It's just like
I don't hate him to the Cowboys. It's just not a need.
it's all about
Right
offense.
now.
No,
baby.
I was
It's all
just
about
looking at
offense.
best available.
Yeah.
As,
It's
I mean,
all about offense.
There's a whole lot of different ways I could go with this, but I'm not going to overthink it. And like I talked about in round 1 when I selected for the Cowboys, I'd buy into them taking Jerry Jones taking skill position players this year. They never make
Points.
splashes in free agency. There's this whole thing that he just said where like trades leading up to the draft or trades after the
yeah,
draft.
he's
Like they're
working
not
on
done.
2 big time trades.
It's
yeah.
like I don't buy all that.
Points.
I just think he likes to see his name and his face on the TV. So
Carnival Barker.
yeah, I'm gonna go Quinshon Judkins
Yes.
here, and love the pick. To be honest with you.
That is a
Yeah.
great pick.
Mhm.
Think about a Cowboys offense now. All of a sudden, you got CD and McMillan. You signed Javante. You got Quinshon Judkins, and Dak's back. Hopefully, stays healthy the
And
whole
Miles
year.
Sanders
Like,
is a third running back.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
you've got what Ferguson, tight end.
Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, Ferguson and Schoonmaker.
Schoonmaker,
So
yeah.
now you're talking about an offense where hopefully they're thinking they can score 30, 35 a game and just outscore
better-
everyone.
You better-
Try to
you
be
don't have-
the NFC version of the Bengals.
You don't have a guard or a center. So
Hey,
you better-
they're
you
just
better
gonna be
score a
they're
lot.
gonna be the NFC Bengals. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're just trying to outscore.
Congrats to Jake Ferguson for bagging a Cavendish twin.
Mm.
They're engaged.
Did he really?
They're engaged. Yeah.
Who's
Wow.
They're basketball. The girls play basketball.
Blonde.
Floor.
Influencers.
I'm not familiar.
Blonde.
Good looking.
I'm sure you've seen them before.
Is
But
that
kinda
the
not at the
Carson
same time.
Beck's dating the other one. If I
Good
remember.
Well,
looking.
no,
correctly.
they broke up.
Did they?
Yeah.
Mm.
And Ferguson
Yeah.
swooped in.
Beck just continues to
Different-
fumble.
different
So
swim.
Oh,
Is he? He's not in this draft. He went back. That's right.
he's at Miami.
yeah, he's
now.
at Miami. He's
Trash.
Alright.
Colts.
Colts 45.
Like, you know why I gave
Colts
you the Colts?
45.
I got a Colt
Huh?
45.
You know why I gave you the
Zags.
Colts?
I mean, I figured it was Tyler Warren related more than anything.
Anthony Richardson related.
Oh,
Actually.
jeez. Yeah, I'm not going quarterback even though I hate Anthony Richardson, but
Dude, why? You've got Riley Leonard there, I think, at BDL.
Oh, let's look at Quinn.
Riley Leonard is such an Eli quarterback for Madden. Think about it.
Yeah,
It's
just
like back to our Madden
yeah,
seasons.
run a goal line offense the whole time
Yeah.
and let the defense win the game.
Quarterback power.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with yet another edge rusher that has, or a defensive lineman that has ties to Texas A&M. That was an incredible recruit. I'm gonna go with Nick Skirton out of A&M. I obviously he's still here because I don't love him, just like probably you all compared to the other edge rushers that have gone previously. But I like him over the BC guy. And I was thinking about edge with my first pick with the Colts before a couple went. So I'm gonna go with edge here.
Nice.
And then I'm back up again with the Falcons, and I was looking at this
JT?
one.
You got Mike Green in the first.
Get
Yeah, I'm
JT
struggling
on
with
the
this
other
one.
side.
I already got my edge rusher.
Get another one. Ohio State guy.
So JTT, like, he ruined Penn State a couple years. I mean, the 1 year mainly, but like outside of that,
That's who I'd love the Browns to get in the third
I'm
round.
at 1%.
I mean,
I'm gonna
I-
look off yours soon.
If somehow he
Offense
can
just
get to
drained.
the
I like Jack Sawyer better.
really.
I'm not taking
Well,
him,
I
but
think
I don't
that-
think
I'm a-
JTT is like.
I'm a fan of Jack Sawyer,
think
but dude, he's not gonna be
I
good.
think
I
we
don't
talked
think
about-
JTT
I think-
is like.
I think we
anything.
talked about this on an episode or two ago. Jack Sawyer is going to come in and be more pro ready. He's going to be a little more consistent, but he doesn't have the ceiling that JTT has.
I disagree. Josie has bigger legs than him. I
I don't
he's
think
gonna get bullied
JTT
at
is
the
gonna be a
top.
bullshit.
I think that
Thank
Jack
you.
Sawyer's like crafty, and I think that he'll find ways to be 5 sacks, 6 sacks a year. But I don't think he'll ever be your main pass rusher. And I think he's solid enough in run defense. But JTT, I think, has the potential to be a 12 to 14 sack guy.
I just think his body's so underdeveloped. I love him as a player. Like he's fun to watch. I mean, obviously the strip sack return touchdown against Texas in the playoffs, but
For sure.
he's another guy similar to a Scattaboo where I'm rooting for him. Like I want him to do good. I just he
What a
scares
name.
me.
What a name. Jack Sawyer. That's just a ball player.
Yeah.
But I am
Sounds like an
struggling.
Ohio fuck.
Hey, we bought you time. We bought you time.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this pick a lot.
Just
Take-
go quarterback.
take your
The
boy
Falcons
Kevin
love
Winston.
taking quarterbacks.
Go
I
Kevin
don't know.
Winston.
I might just.
Dude,
But to be honest, I don't love him this
What
year.
about corner,
Like, he's
dude?
coming off an injury. He played
Siobhan
one game
Russell.
last year.
Yeah, but send him to a
Game
team
and a
that
half.
has a defensive head coach.
Darian Porter's like the most athletic cornerback.
Yes,
in
I
the
do not like
draft, so.
Siobhan Revel.
Sure, that's who I probably would have gone. Just because, honestly, like I don't know a lot about him, but just because in other mock drafts he's gone around here,
Is that who you're going with?
probably, sure.
Alright, Siobhan Revel.
But yeah, for the obviously Penn State or Homer, but Kevin Winston Jr. scares me a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd
You'd be able to cover.
spend a second
No, not
rounder
yet.
on him.
Okay.
Cards are back.
You're out. So.
I'm Arizona.
Yes, you took Jalen Walker.
He's the
That's
very-
not what I have.
What do you
I
have?
I have Mason Graham going to the Cardinals.
No, Mason.
Buddy,
Graham
Mason
was-
Graham
he
was
the
the
Saints.
Sure.
Remember, because I asked you how you
Oh.
felt about him being passed up at 8 and still got him at 16.
Okay, yeah, because I just mixed those ones. up.
That's why he. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go through?
No,
Okay.
I'm just thinking here.
He's about to
I
try to
mean-
draft someone that's already been taken.
Nick Worry dropping
No,
as
I'm-
far as.
I am good here.
Honestly, another edge rusher's not out of the question either.
No, I'm either going there or I'm gonna go with safety. I just,
Yeah, it's kind of meh.
yeah. I mean, this is
a
where
bad-
it really starts to drop off here.
Unless
real
you're taking
bad.
unless you're taking a skill guy, it's kind of a boring part of the draft.
Like I think the third and fourth are more.
Not for me,
exciting
I live
than
for this
this.
But
I'm
don't you
going-
think
I'm in my
Amari-
element. I feel
Like once
it.
Bartholomew starts going and like those types of guys and like no seriously in the third or fourth, don't you think that's like
Bartholomew's not going in the third or fourth. Bartholomew, there's a chance he goes undrafted, and I'm pissed about it. I am livid.
I went with
He's a
Emin-
day
Emin
two
Wari
quarterback.
here.
Eminwari.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully another honey badger.
Mm.
And there goes my laptop.
All right, Miami.
just in time.
Yes.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways that we could go here. So I already took a corner. For a reminder for those watching, I ended up taking Jade Barron in the first round. I'm actually I'm not completely shut off to taking Azariah Thomas here, the Florida State
I
corner.
like that.
I know double dipping at corner seems really weird, but it also seems like a Miami thing to do.
Especially if you're gonna trade Ramsey.
Yeah, exactly. I like Carson Schlesinger a lot. I don't know that that's necessarily a team need for them right now. But looking at their team needs, and there's cornerback, D tackle, guard, safety, wide receiver. I would have heavily considered taking Eamon Warrior here. I probably would have done it if he wouldn't have gone off the board right before there. And I also really like T.J. Sanders out of South Carolina. I think T.J. Sanders at D tackle or Azariah Thomas. You know what? I'm going to end up trading Jalen Ramsey, so I'm going to go Azariah Thomas.
Nice.
I have 2 rookie corners.
The Bengals are back.
Boy.
Yeah, I'm up with the Bungles again.
You went O-line, right, with your first pick?
I did. I got Gray Zabel, who's
Yeah.
going to be a guard or a center for us. The edge is where I want to go here. I like the edge rushers available. JTT, keep him in Ohio. Landon Jackson, he's the guy with alopecia, the bald guy who had like the viral video of him
G.I. Jane.
swatting his arms. You still have the Boston College guy there,
Who is the bald guy, alopecia?
Landon Jackson. Formerly the LSU recruit. Do you know
It's
what
a guy
I'm
with
talking about?
video.
It's a guy with alopecia. He plays in Arkansas.
He looks like really uncoordinated and like really weak with the way he slapped it. Yeah.
Well, now he's gonna probably be a second round pick. There are guys I like better, and this is probably crazy, and it is ridiculous how many how many linemen total have we probably had come off the board? Like 12. I'm probably responsible for 75% of the linemen that have come off.
But
the
if you
board.
look at it like linemen go,
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say, you know what? We have to get some sort of deal done with Trey Hendrickson. He's too good and too valuable to our team, even though he's on the wrong side of 30. I'm going to go back to the offensive line. I'm going to go back to the interior of offensive line. I'm going to go grab the Arizona guard. I do not know how to pronounce his last name, but I have seen him in mocks. So
7.5.
we're going to protect Joe Burrow because I'm a firm believer Joe Burrow was the best quarterback in the NFL last year. He just had bull crap around him, and because of that reason, he wasn't in the MVP conversation with the likes of Saquon, Lamar, Josh Allen. But I think Joe Burrow's game individually compares very nicely to all 3 of those guys. We're going to protect him this year. We're going to try and get an even better version.
Said Naples with 3 picks in a row.
really?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Because the 52 was traded from Pittsburgh to Seattle. So you have Seattle, Broncos, Seattle.
Nice.
Is he-
With this first pick for Seattle, I think we're gonna go Kevin Winston here. Get a nice piece on the back end of that defense for Tom McDonald, right? I say Mike McDonald, however you say his name. I think that with the young corners that they have there, added another safety, keep that secondary young. We already kind of beefed up the offensive line with our first pick.
You took Winston, you said, right?
Huh?
Winston.
Yeah, Kevin Winston's gonna be this pick here. Now we're here at Denver, and we're looking at the running backs, and I think that Caleb Johnson is probably my next highest rated guy off the board. I think that he's gonna be a pro, and I think that going Luther Burden and then coming back and getting Caleb Johnson here is gonna be a nice 1-2 for Denver, rather than like let's say you went Amari and Hampton there, and then you come back and like the receivers are like Jalen Royals, Jaden Higgins, like you've got Restrepo. Like I just think the depth here for the Broncos to come back and get a Caleb Johnson type pick is a lot better value if you're getting a Luther Burden with their first. And then back to Seattle, I think we're gonna go ahead and take. He's been up here. I think we're just gonna go ahead and get Ezereku, edge from Boston College. I think that the fall has to stop here for him. Seattle could use another edge rusher. Getting a couple picks here on defense is going to be good for them, and hopefully with Sam Darnold that they brought in, Cooper Kupp they brought in, hopefully their offense can put up enough points. Defense stirred up a little bit, so
PFF loves him.
yeah,
They didn't know a lot
they have
about
him
him,
ranked like
but-
17. Average draft position 22 for Ezereku.
Yeah, alright, so looking at, I am up with the Buccaneers. I obviously traded that pick on here saying I took Shooter Sanders. I did not. I took Micah Williams, so an edge. All of their needs come on the defensive side of the ball, according to this website, and I tend to agree with that. I think that a really a position of need in this situation is corner. But I took the corner that I probably would have taken with Miami. So looking back on it with hindsight to set myself up, I should not have taken.
What about the safety from Texas?
Yeah, I mean, Makuba.
Mm-hmm. Him and Winfield.
No, you know what?
Oh, wait, no.
I'm gonna
It's a
go.
defensive end.
I'm gonna go with
I
a
don't
player that I talked about in my last pick with Miami that I'm really high on, and is a position of need for this team. Carson Schlesinger, really high on the off-ball linebacker, and you need a transition plan for that position because Devin White didn't end up working out long term. You just let him walk for nothing, and then Levante David maybe has a couple years left in him of being really elite. So I think that getting a transition plan for that middle linebacker position is huge.
Nice.
I like it. Definitely a weaker off-ball linebacker class, so definitely going to be a premium. He's a former walk-on, really talented guy. I'm a fan of the pick.
He's only second off the board, off-ball
Correct.
linebacker. Yeah,
Unless you're Jalen Walker,
I
instead of that hybrid, so him and
I took
John
both.
Campbell.
I took
Yeah.
John Campbell too.
I do want to give a shout out. We've had the same 7 viewers for the whole entire time. So shout out, though.
Shout out the viewers.
Thank you for
Can you
the-
shout him out? Who is it?
I don't know if we can see. So
It's probably us.
Yeah,
Rumor
well,
is Josh Melton might be in the draft.
Oh, Josh Melto.
He
Hey,
might
he said
be
something in
in
the
there.
chat.
what Malto?
Packers back up on the clock. The only way for me to become a Packers lover is to go ahead and get another Ohio State man. We went Ibuka with the first pick. JTT coming off the board here. Get someone to help get after the quarterback on that defense. I think the Packers love that pick in this scenario.
Yeah, so I'm on the board with the Chargers. I went Kenneth Grant. Jim Harbaugh loves his Big Ten guys. A lot of Ohio State, a lot of Michigan players all over this roster. JTT was going to be my guy. He can be the edge rusher of the future with Tuli. Yeah, the dude's a beast out of USC. You still have Khalil Mack and Bud Dupree there. So edge rusher, not a huge need.
Isn't Joey Bosa still there?
Joey Bosa's on the Bills now.
What?
Signed a 1-year deal. with the Bills.
When did that happen?
Right, do you remember the 49ers were recruiting him pretty heavily? Miami was also involved and they chose Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then right after they cut Von Miller. So Von Miller's a free agent too. So Cincinnati, go sign Von Miller.
Like 3 days into free
I
agency, maybe.
don't remember Joey Bosa leaving the
Yeah.
Chargers.
Yep. Because they signed Khalil Mack. Didn't they extend Khalil Mack?
Khalil Mack was extended.
That's crazy. To not extend the guy that you drafted has been a big part of your team.
Mack's been healthier, been better.
Yeah,
Mack had a game not this last season.
Yeah,
but
but
6 sacks,
Six
yeah.
sacks and one. Like
Still,
Khalil Mack
Khalil
can still
Mack's
do it.
good, but
Wasn't
I'm
that
saying,
week 1?
Yeah,
I
it
think
was.
it was.
okay.
Show some loyalty. Show some loyalty.
It's a business.
It's like Baker.
Hey,
Sorry. That was bad.
I wish the Browns would have kept him, man. Like you said, I wanted him gone, man. I never wanted him gone.
Yeah.
Alright, so Naples going into that direction was actually probably better because I don't think I've picked somebody that's not an O lineman or a D lineman yet for anybody.
I don't have a pick left in this.
So,
Is it tight end here?
It isn't. You could definitely go that route. I do kind of like the value at wide receivers. I think the wide receivers available right now aren't that far off from the wide receivers that we picked in the first. I like both of the Iowa State guys and Kyle Williams out of Washington State. Tez Johnson's an intriguing one, but you already kind of have that small shifty guy in Lad
I was
McConkey.
gonna say, who do you
I
pair
do
with?
like Mike Williams when healthy. Quinn Johnson did have a 170-yard game
Solid.
last year. Just saying.
3 catches.
With that said, I'm gonna go Jaden
10
Higgins. I
targets.
prefer him a little bit over
Jaden
Jalen
Higgins.
Knoll.
That's good.
So Jaden Higgins is the pick.
That's a good
My
pick.
first non-defensive or offensive lineman pick. I believe.
Buffalo.
Alright, so I talked earlier about how I ended up going receiver, but there's somebody that I really wanted later. I'm gonna go get that guy even though I want receiver earlier. Just because I love this guy so much. Production's not crazy, but he's just a monster. He's one of like my favorite guys. With them being in the ACC this year, I watched him a little bit more, and he was just a freak. And that's Ao Minor from Stanford. $100 to whoever can get his hometown's name right.
I don't know. Where's he from?
He's from Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. Medicine Hat is his hometown. But he was just one of those guys that probably isn't going to work out in college, or in the NFL, but I just loved him so much in college. So, and there's what's that card?
Yeah, no, I don't. There's two of them there. It might be a tow truck. or
Listen, I
something.
had my share of car troubles today. I'm learning about it.
The
Might have hit it
Panthers
here or
are up.
something. Panthers. So I was deciding on whether or not I would take a receiver with the 9th pick, was it?
Eight.
Eight?
Took Will
Eighth
Johnson.
pick?
Johnstein.
I was gonna go Tet McMillan there.
Take millions, baby.
Ended up going quarterback just to kind of shove it in
Corner,
Josie.
corner.
Corner, just to kind of shove it in Josie's face.
Fumbling this back.
I'm gonna take Jalen Noel. I've never
Yep.
seen him play,
Alright.
but he's the top wide receiver up there, so I'm gonna take him.
Oh, he's good. He's good.
5'10", 194, so a smaller guy.
Tank
I would have changed my pick if I knew that.
Why?
I don't know. I
You
don't
already
like
have
small
a
receivers.
6'2" guy.
You're up
and,
again with Houston.
6'3".
I love
I
these
sure am.
receivers
He was
right now.
6'3".
He goes
He's
pretty
my
big.
favorite left.
I don't want a receiver for him.
Okay, what position? But
I want-
Houston's up.
it's Cooper again.
Oh
Who-
shoot! You
where-
went corner, Trey Amos.
Okay, thank you. Oh God. Okay, no, I don't. No, I mean honestly, line.
Him probably. If you want to tackle.
Best offensive lineman available.
Can you go guard?
Wyatt and Billum.
I'm gonna go Ratledge out of Georgia.
Alright.
Solid. Baltimore, I'm up. In the first round, I grabbed Xavier Watts. Edge rushers long been a need for them. Kyle Van Noy, they kind of just luckily fell into. They signed him like straight off of the McAfee show, and the dude just casually has put up double-digit sacks the last 2 years, playing his best football a decade in. I'm gonna go ahead and grab another younger guy. You still have Odafe, Awaba. Is that what? Odafe Owe
Owe.
is still there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the aforementioned Landon Jackson, alopecia.
Say 13 sacks, 25 tackles for loss over the last 2 seasons.
13 sacks in college is ridiculous.
Well, over 2 seasons, but
Oh,
still,
okay.
and 25
I
tackles
mean,
for loss
yeah.
is good still too.
Yeah, it's so hard to get sacks in college with all the RPOs and one read plays.
Alright, I'm up.
Detroit.
What have I gone so far? I went Walter Nolan.
Good pick, too.
So I got my D tackle, edge, man. There's some guys out there, I guess. Guard.
Could go
receiver.
tackle the future. Taylor Decker getting older.
You could trade Sam Laporta and draft a tight end.
I don't mind a
I
quarterback.
love
Wouldn't be the
it.
first
I love
time,
the
I mean.
tight end.
Yeah, it would be the first time
Do we mind a Quinn Ewers or
Yeah,
Yes.
we do.
To Detroit?
because Hendon Hooker's on the
They
roster.
just signed Goff to like a 4-year extension last year.
And Hendon Hooker's on the
And
roster.
Jared Goff's just a beast. We're not. This is a team in a Super Bowl window, and you're like, yeah, let's grab the backup quarterback.
I still like some
Yeah,
of the edge
They have
rushers.
Hendon Hooker. He's the future.
I'm gonna go with
I love Hendon Hooker.
which Ole Miss guy do I want? Princely or Jared Ivey? You think?
Ivy.
Princely.
I kind of like if Ivy wasn't
Ivy.
listed below.
Go
I think
Ivy.
I would go Ivy.
I think I like Ivy.
All right, I'll go Jared Ivy.
Yeah.
Go with
Got him. All right, Commander's up. We want Fritz.
that. I'm
Got
good
him,
with
got
that.
I'm tripping too.
What?
Where's he at?
Jared Ivey?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Maybe
I know
he's
there.
really far down on
I mean,
you guys'
I
list.
just picked. Yeah,
He's 178 for
Jesus.
us.
on ours he was like I
50,
think the yeah.
56 or something like that.
No, he's-
I looked at
he's
linebacker, I
over
looked at edge, I was like,
Yeah.
You know,
half the page.
We've
Well,
got
where I
a we've
want
got a
to
couple
go.
we've got a couple options that we could go here for the commies. We did go Amarian Hampton with our first pick. I'm thinking that we go receiver here just to get another weapon for our boy Jaden Daniels. I think I really like Jalen Royals here. A little bit of a bigger receiver, 6 foot, 205. He's able to, do some things. I think he pairs well with Terry McLaurin. Just another weapon for the Commanders.
You picked who was your first round pick? Omari.
Yeah, Omari.
Him, Debo, and then Brian Robinson. That could be scary. Debo going at running back.
Samuel.
He's not going to be the running back.
Not if they take Hampton, he's not.
Yeah,
Hampton's gonna be probably a 3 down,
yeah.
or at
And
least the
Brian,
first 2 down.
Brian
back.
Robinson will just be for relief.
But you know the packages that they could use on that for like 3rd and 5, 3rd
Yeah.
and 3.
Chris Berry.
Put Hampton and Debo out there.
They still have Austin Eckler too, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
got a running quarterback.
We're cutting Eckler.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some cap relief there.
Yeah.
Steelers.
And then
with
you
that
can trade
trade-
for Trey Hendrickson.
Eckler
He's the
can't-
same as
Eckler
Warren, though. I
can't,
think
but
Warren's even better.
Eckler
Warren's
can't.
younger, so
Eckler can't run.
yeah. That's why he didn't want to be in with the Chargers. So Buffalo, 3 picks
I'm
left.
gonna go with TJ Sanders here.
Hmm.
D tackles listed as one of their needs, and
Mhm.
somebody I like.
I like that pick.
So,
Mhm.
Kansas City.
I think in reality, TJ Sanders goes like middle of the 2nd round.
Can you go into defense here?
He's really good. He's really good. He's really athletic. He's alright.
There's this Princely guy that's still there.
I would too. That's where
I'll-
I would go.
yeah. I'll go with Darius Alexander.
Very good play.
Toledo.
So fifth direction of Ed Lodge again. Players here. Alfred Collins that I like could go. This is gonna be up for a con. As Darian Porter is the most arguably the most athletic player. Track conference. You really want to take a pick. Yeah, athletic freak. People have also said he's better than
Lean back.
Oh,
Thank you.
better than Tariq
Yeah,
Woolen
yeah,
coming
right.
out. You could go tight end here. Is down out of Minnesota. We're gonna go ahead and do that.
yes, sir.
So that completes our draft. Looking at
Let's
what
go.
else we have, who's available, like quarterbacks. Shuck is still there. Ewers is still there.
I was dying to look for a team, one of my teams that needed a tight end, so I could go
A lot of running backs.
with Harold Fana.
Fan in there. Running backs, exactly, Naples. Even with us drafting a crap ton of linemen, like technically there could be more than what we drafted.
Princely.
Although we definitely Princely. I think we did a much better job this year of drafting linemen. I don't remember us doing as well last year. Which also it's harder. I forget who said it, but it holds true. It's not the flashy, exciting pick, but also look at our Super Bowl champion. O-line, D-line is how you win. I thought there were more DBs that could have gone off the board. But I'm not this. I've been telling you guys that I'm not excited for this draft. I don't think the players are that good. This did make me a little bit more excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
And since we're a Steelers podcast, might as well throw out there. We got Derek Harmon in the 1st round, and in the 2nd round we traded back in and we got Travion Henderson.
With giving up George Pickens, so
Correct.
GP is no longer a
So getting
Steeler.
Javon Baker.
Listen, yeah. It would be interesting to kind of see because if that's the route the Steelers go,
Mhm.
I'm a little bit less excited about a potential Rodgers sign.
Yeah.
The Rodgers signing I like a lot more if you have GP, Muth, and DK Metcalf all there.
What if you have Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin?
Roman Wilson couldn't win the playbook last year.
But
That's
Calvin Austin's always open, dude. The quarterbacks just can't hit him.
I agree. If that is the route the Steelers would end up getting, then I would be a lot more tempted to just say screw it, let's give Mason the year. I would say that just because
And then draft somebody in the 4th, 5th round
yeah,
to be a backup and
had
next year take the 1st round.
Ewers can be the developmental guy. If you like him, then who knows?
And we're counting Rudolph out right now.
Yeah,
Like-
there we are.
I mean, I like Rudolph, but
I mean, we've seen him be the starter there.
Yeah.
and
He
to be
wasn't-
fair, it's been solid.
That's
It's not nearly
I
as
mean,
bad as what
it's
people
four
say.
games.
But.
Let's just say he started games before. He can throw the ball deep. DK and George Pickens both catch the ball deep. I mean, it could be electric.
We
Look,
listed
look at that horrible offense we had when he was starting. horrible offensive line.
He had Nick Westbrook Akine on like a 6-game touchdown streak last year. So
I'm taking Rudolph over both Russell and Fields. I will say that.
yeah, I would agree.
At least the Russell and Fields that we saw last year.
Not for Fields.
Thank you to our, I guess since Eli and I are logged on, our 5 loyal listeners, dealing with all the bull crap. We gotta get this figured out, and that's on me. Whatever.
We'll figure it out next year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a next year problem. Also, I feel like once we actually got rolling, it was better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Got a good pace.
yeah, we also have to figure out what we're gonna do for next week, considering that we don't have a tripod. So we have to figure that out. Good 2-hour stream, guys.
That's bad.
It's been the Segment Short Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Go.
Eli, you want to shut her down?
Hoorah.
Sir. Hopefully it
Thank you for your
saves.
service, Christian.
If I
It
can,
had to go in there.
if I can figure out how to.
Say something about it.
I don't like put my face in there.